weird people you're talking to. Oh, it's just a bunch of characters playing a puppet show, kissing, making out.
I'm into it.
Yes, you are, Stoker.
Okay. There we go. Ready to rock.
Game Plus demos.
Hayseed Knight.
Oh, okay.
Watch and stream.
All right. Are we live? Can people hear us?
Yes.
Can people see us? Can people taste us?
Can people feel us?
No.
Welcome back, you lovely people, you fans of
Yes.
himbos and himbarine. No, there's really just one himbo in this, isn't there?
You have to make it a Dungeons and Dragons-esque title because that's what this is. It's
They're all
harems and
made
himbos.
of himbos, ham-bone hands, and earth shaking, booty quaking.
I was just gonna go with himbos and the horny girls who love them.
Let me see. The subtitles are coming up on...
Stoker, I thought we were going to go sock puppets kind of thing, but okay, let's go there.
Yes.
I think I said this already before, but this game, when the way that the animations move around with the characters, they remind me of like a classic, like Romeo Juliet puppet show, but they do it so good. I like it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, are the subtitles actually coming up on the stream for people?
Let me take a look.
No, they're not.
Actually,
Okay, I might need to restart that thing.
Yeah, for me it says captions issue detected. Either refresh or they didn't start it up. Hold on. Let me refresh. Let's
Reload,
see.
yeah. Let's see if it works.
Oh,
Nope.
interesting.
Yeah, it looks like you didn't start it.
Let me...
Stream CC.
Oh, it's not actually connected to Twitch right now. Try that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I see the
Okay, now it's coming up.
captions now.
Yeah, I think rebooting my computer just caused it to disconnect from Twitch. Okay.
Did it didn't caption my sneezes, did it?
No, it tried to say that, and then it just sort of skipped over it as like background noise.
That.
Now, yeah, I think recently building my computer, just prostitute did it. It didn't caption my sneeze at visit, and that it just sort of skipped over as like background noise play building my computer, just prostitute. Oh, I'm about to get into a loop. Okay.
I love that the caption just basically said your computer's a prostitute.
I mean, listen.
From a certain point of view,
Something hard drive. Anyway, so we have a game to play.
Yes, we have liftoff. Let's go.
okay, so we're looking at all this stuff and trying to get through.
We are lost in the maze of memory.
Okay,
And there's some question about
just
the order.
start from the beginning and just go all the way through, I guess.
Honey,
Might as well.
please, let me
Yes,
in.
you've already seen this. I want to be like her.
Hey, Sip, so, I've been thinking real hard about that thing I said about being responsible and whatnot, so I think I'm ready to take this step.
Oh, I'm
Man.
starting off for you hot
Will
already.
you be my wife?
Yeah, this
Oh.
isn't gonna go anywhere. So
Yeah.
nearly spit her whole drink in Nader's face.
What? What? Are you seriously asking me to marry you?
Look, I know it's sudden and it's weird, and my parents will never look at me the same, but it's the right thing to do. And I don't want my fawns growing up without a father.
You are the
Fawns?
father.
Whatever gave you the idea that I'm expecting?
We,
Choose how you
You know,
answer carefully.
or maybe you don't know. Please tell me someone told you about this. Hold up. Maybe gazelles just to make fawns like we do. See, when a deer and a doe love each other very much.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, Sep, quit acting like a fawn. This is important. Come on, does it look like I'm telling a joke here?
No, that's the problem right here.
Oh, the captions are interfering with the game text.
That doesn't particularly surprise me.
Yeah, okay.
That seems like it would be a problem with visual novels.
Shit. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I know, but it should be on the options right here somewhere.
Let me see. Settings. Wow, they have a dyslexia font. Text
Is that the font to help you with it or to give it to you?
I would assume help.
It's the internet. You never know.
Let me see. Increase or decrease line count. That doesn't move it though. How do you move? Oh, if you click and drag on it in the window, you can move it.
Oh, okay.
So just like roll it up to the top or something if you're having trouble seeing the text in the game.
Dyslexia font taxes. Okay. I love your captions.
It's just pretty.
Oh,
pretty
watchers can turn off the closed captioning themselves.
Yeah, and
Yes.
you can turn.
And you can click and drag the box to move it. So, as a matter of fact, I'm going to try that. Oh, look at that. Okay,
Yeah.
I think we're good to proceed.
I think so.
Dragonborn says that users can move the text too. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just moved it myself.
Oh.
Just to test it. So, yeah, I think we're good. So, we can't follow that thread any further, at least not right now.
Okay.
Add or something?
Don't open that door.
Mom?
Oh,
Trying to think
can't
any
open
further.
it. No, neither.
Oh, honey, come on.
He is no brother of mine.
Did we choose one? Oh, never mind.
Memory recorded from a low angle, or rather that of a child looking up from her hiding spot behind a statue. She stared intently at the usual giant tree, as the usual giant tree man helped the most unusual red man off his back.
Welcome to the Desert Rose, oh wise merchant. I hope the road has treated you well. I've been looking forward to meeting you personally. Illigrab has told me many stories about you.
I always knew Illigrab was a Yaltsin, but to think he would mingle with actual strumpets.
Red,
Charming
come
as
on.
ever.
I'm not asking for so much. 10 minutes. 10 minutes acting like a civilized person in front of Thor.
Why does strumpet sound like a food to me?
Well, I mean, under the right circumstances, it can be kind of moving on.
You can stick your civilization where the sun doesn't shine. I was happy in the steppes, far away from all these senseless plots of yours. When will you get it in your head that I am retired?
And then everybody starts blinking at him.
Oh.
That Sep had mistaken for a furry statue, so it's moved all of a sudden. It swept Sep right off her feet with a soft kick, then grabbed her by her shirt before she touched the ground. Living statue proudly lifted his catch of the day up in the air for all to see.
Oh, there's our little slippery star. What did we say about sneaking around like that, Sep?
No, I wasn't sneaking around. I was eavesdropping. Unhand me. Unhand me, I said. Mom, help.
No, if you wanted to meet our guests, you should have come and done so properly. Mr. Red has come a long way to see you. What sort of impression are you going to leave on him if you don't behave?
You misunderstand the purpose of my visit, woman. I haven't come here to see her. I have come here to be seen.
Following an unspoken order, the golem carried Sep a few steps closer to the merchant's face so she could take a good look at him. A moment of expectation ensued. All the attendants stood in solemn quietude as young Gazelle stared at her senior.
What are you? Is your name really Red? Is it 'cause you're red? You look really old. Where are your eyes? And your horns? What happened to your teeth? Your breath stinks.
Are you done yet?
Yeah.
What's any of it to you, you mannerless scamp?
Said mannerless scamp startled so badly she managed to slip away from the living statue's grasp. She immediately ran to hide behind her mother, nothing short of terrified.
Shh, it's all right. It's all right. I apologize, Mr. Red. She can be a little overwhelming when she gets excited.
Kids these days. In my day, we called that spoil. And the cure was a good smack on the head with a long side of a cane. Isn't that right, Aina? Aina?
Reminds me of the Boondocks, the dad, the granddaddy.
Her nose twitched slightly as if bothered by a certain smell. Faintest trace
Hang on,
of...
was her ear always like that, or was it, or is that an,
Is that a glitch?
It might be.
It's flipping around.
I don't
Well, I
think
think
it's a
that's
glitch.
just a sprite mirroring thing.
Huh.
But was her ear always like that when she was standing over there? I didn't notice it.
I don't think that's her ear.
What is it then?
I don't know.
Well, she's a
I feel like that is her ear. Well, whatever.
Her nose
I
twitched
do-
slightly as if bothered by a certain smell. The faintest trace of motion began forming on her mane as she shouted, snout wrinkled and her eyebrows rose. The look Aina had on her face when her eyes found Sep again was awfully casual. It wasn't all that different from the expression any mortal would wear upon remembering they had forgotten to hang out their laundry for the last several centuries.
Yeah, I've been there.
The merchant's claim flew right into Aina's chest before whatever thought had passed her mind could take form, but he suddenly stopped at both her approach and her expression.
Commiserations for abducting the right child. We're done here.
What? You're leaving so soon? I was hoping we could discuss...
There is nothing left to discuss. Not until we have settled down, at least. Illigrab, is my old abode still free?
You mean the Temple of Arab? It was expropriated centuries ago. I mean, sure, you could buy it again, but it's a miracle it hasn't fallen apart yet. No one has tended to it since my grandfather wilted away.
Perfect. I hate getting used to new houses. Come on, Aina. You have a lot of stuff to carry back home.
A house is not made a home in a day, and oh, how few days there are in a century.
Aina stared at Sep a little longer before reluctantly following the merchant's footsteps.
Is he always like... that?
Oh, no, not at all. He usually swears a little more.
In my old days, we
The
had
lonely
a
child
belt.
wandered the dark and narrow alleys of Heirloom for the first time in her life. The rainy season left a misty fog that covered her escape, but welcome assistance as her hooves kept slipping on the wet mud, leaving a clear trail to follow. But then again, who would ever look for her? She was alone. That's why she had left, searching for something. Someone, anyone who would understand. Last, she found two gazelles gathered under a balcony, warming their hands with half-extinguished fire hidden under some bricks. Sep took a deep breath and then a step.
Tasakurmat.
Excuse me?
Oh, did I pronounce it wrong? I'm so sorry. I haven't practiced my Basacted in years. Here guard you. May we share the fire as siblings?
You are welcome to sit down, if that is what you're asking.
Sep nodded, flustered, and then made space for herself on the ground between them. Two gazelles exchanged uncomfortable glances.
So, what brings you here, little one? Did you get lost on your way back from an errand?
No, I just felt like doing this. I wanted to see what the city was like at night.
Ah, so this is your first time outside after curfew. No wonder you're so nervous. Worry not, you have come to the right people. Listen, the key to making it home in one piece is keeping your feet nimble and your fire low. Avoid the moonlight as much as you can. Deer can see better than us in the dark.
Come on, that's just hearsay.
Capitat it is. Guards always see you before you see them. And if one finds you, you have to play dumb. And I mean really, really dumb. They are paid in Cetipas and would rather send you off on your way than waste time walking to the dungeon and back. By the way, if you fancy a drink before going back home, there are a few friendly taverns just around the corner. No one will say a thing if they see a gazelle walking in.
Not like you'd need him. You look like a doe in that.
What do you mean? My horns are right here. See?
Don't mind him. He's just jealous because his masters are a cheap lot. Those are some really good hand-me-downs, though. What house do you work for?
I don't work for anyone. Well, I mean, I kind of work in the desert, Rose, but not really. Val isn't paying me yet because she says I'm still training and I have a lot to learn, and...
The older gazelles looked at each other, horrified.
We have to do something, right? This is like 10 different kinds of illegal.
Wait, we shouldn't just jump to conclusions. Hey, kid, can you tell us what you're training for exactly?
I'm supposed to be training to become a dancer, but actually, what I'm really training for is becoming the next Jacif. I will restore or honor to what it once was.
The next... Oh, my son! You should have said so sooner! To think that the Jacif would spend our precious time scampering through dark alleys and huddling around a doused fire with us mere servants.
Don't encourage her, you iscap!
You are the only
Yeah, you
iscap
iscap.
here. Bow your head and apologize, Nuff. Don't you feel ashamed for teaching our son how to sneak like a street shrub on our first night outside, instead of showing her the proper path for a monarch?
Is Mikazel played by the same person who does Geoff?
I mean,
Could be.
it's entirely possible.
It sounds sort of like him, just like a different...
The proper path? You mean I shouldn't be here?
Of course not! See that footbridge above
Yes,
us,
I
my
just
son?
heard-
It's called the Royal Pathway, and it's a road reserved only for those of noble birth. And tell me, Jacif, who could be worthier of walking the skies than the daughter of the sun herself?
Wait, kid! Don't listen to him. He's just...
Yeah, how come no one ever told me about this? What am I doing wasting my time on the ground when I could be watching the city from up there?
Right? Come with me then. I'll show you to the entrance.
You two seriously have nothing better to do tonight than to make fun of a kid? You know, I usually turn a blind eye on petty things such as barhand escapades after curfew, but incitement is a far more serious crime. Guards!
Sir Puntalos, please! It was him and him alone. I was trying to stop him, I swear!
You can play the blame game all you want in the dungeon. Take them both.
Ooh.
What are you doing, Illigrab? Let them go! They're my friends!
No, they're not. I heard the whole thing, Sep. They were just laughing at you.
Wait, were you following me? How did you know I ran away from home? Who told you?
That's not the matter at hand here. You are not allowed to go into the Royal Pathway under any circumstances ever again! Have I made myself clear?
No! It's not fair, damn it! Mom always said that I would grow up to become the next Jacif! You called me Jacif too when you left! Well, it's there in the title! The Royal Pathway! I deserve to be up there! Mom wouldn't want it that.
Look, Sep. Thar was a lovely woman. I wouldn't hesitate to call her one of the best people I ever met. But she was a doe. Her kindness tinted her views so much that it obfuscated reality. This world looks nothing like she thought it did. At least not for you and I.
But that's not fair! Don't you get it? They should be listening to me. I am Jacif! If the world doesn't look like it should, I have to make it change! I'm not doing it for me! I'm doing it for them! Why can't anyone understand that?
Illigrab patted her head softly as he could.
There is someone who could.
Choices.
Ooh.
Fawn jumped out of her bed, ignoring the sheets she was dragging behind her and the danger she posed on the carpets and vases that decorated her bedroom. Sep valiantly ventured into dark corridors where her child's nightmares always lurked near. But she didn't fear them, no. All she needed to do was reach her mother's door. She'd be safe there.
Mom, I saw...
There was nothing at the other side of the door but an empty bed looking over a dusty moonlit chamber. The little girl observed the room from the threshold, afraid of stepping in. till a mirror told her that she wasn't a little girl anymore. Thread of thought, Ada was falling to spin into something untraversable. Okay. Ada felt a longer tremor than usual as a memory disappeared. A piece of the wall fell, followed by another, and a dozen more. A thin breach formed in her defenses, casting a single sun ray into the darkness. It wasn't nearly big enough for his hands or his head, but that was, without a doubt, the way out of her heart she had promised. He hadn't taken 2 steps toward it when he halted in place, paralyzed by a thought. Ada knew that if he walked out of there, Sepp wouldn't let him inside ever again. Ever. But was he truly ready to leave? Did he really know enough to face her?
Oh, we definitely need to learn more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perhaps he feared giving Sepp an incomplete answer. Perhaps he just wanted to take advantage of her trust, but be it as it may, Ada turned away from the breach and opened the diary once more. At least he would know where to go if he finally wished to leave.
Ooh, look at that. More stuff opened up.
Oh.
Red man. He never ever mentioned his name, but they keep calling him Red.
The merchant? Yeah, he's
just Red. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, his friends call him Red. Some people call him the merchant. I think somebody in the square during the trial mentioned his actual name.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
Where he's from.
Dear Diary, today I met another gazelle called Red and a beast called Aina, and they're mean. Mom says they're important, they'll help me, but I said no because Aina's a beast, but Mom said Aina is a golem, but I'm pretty sure it's a beast and it wants to eat me. I haven't seen Gios and Taylid's dad in a long time. They're sad, but I'm glad because he's mean too, but they can't know that. Vanilla Grab and Red visit. Mom locks the door and they won't let me hear what they're talking about as they talk in Basictet, so I can't understand. Let me play with Aina while I wait. I don't think she wants to eat me now. Mom tells me to be careful, but it's like playing with a very big doll. I ask her many things, but she doesn't reply, but I can hear her snore when I tell her she's rude, so I know that she listens to me. I have staring contests with her every time she visits. It makes my eyes hurt, but I'm going to get better at it until I win. I think Taylid is afraid of Aina. He looks scared when I'm playing with her. I told him she doesn't want to eat us, but he runs away when she looks at him. Raul told me that he's in love and then told me to keep it a secret. I told Mom sorry. Today I asked Illigrab if the merchant is his husband because he's always screaming at him and he gave me a big hug. I was trying to make Ada blink today when I heard a voice. I looked around, but we were alone, so I asked her if she said something and she looked at me, but she looked really scared. I told Mom, she said I must have imagined it. Geoff heard it, and he made fun of me and said I'm going crazy. I'm not crazy, he's crazy. Taylor likes Aina too, and he wants her to live with us. Mom's going to buy her so I can have a friend here. Illigrab and the merchant come home a lot, but sometimes we visit the temple too. There's a really pretty statue of Hurov, and we pray there. The merchant makes fun of my ways by saying words in Basketet. I hear Aina laughing too sometimes. Mom says that Hurov made me, but I don't know if that's true. She doesn't let me read her thoughts, but I can still remember the face of my old father when I close my eyes. Maybe that wasn't my father after all. They could have found me just like Mom did. I think the statue looks like a girl. I like her horns.
Interesting. Was there something that you could click on the first page of that one? Yeah. See this memory. Does this lead you to anything?
This one. We watched this one.
We
Oh,
did?
I just saw.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Sorry, I thought. Oh, we didn't see Stop Being Mean to Mom.
We have more than enough money to keep another child. That's not the problem at hand, is it?
No. The problem is that you've lost your damn mind. Where are her parents, Thar? Someone must be looking for her.
Someone must be looking for all the other girls I've brought home too. But you don't understand. She's different.
We'll have to put bells on you if you keep sneaking around like that, little pumpkin.
Tree Dad! How did you do that?
It's a secret feet shuffling technique I was taught by an old friend. You ungulates are so used to clopping your hooves that a shifty walk goes completely over your heads.
Yeah, okay, Godzilla.
What's an ungulate?
How about I tell you over some tea and pastries?
Zara and Igai turn to look at the tree, and the tree smiling nicely towards them. They both cast their eyes down and hurried away from the courtyard.
Mom? Mom?
Once more, Ader felt his mind being desperately dragged away from this memory. As much as he tried to see what lay beyond the door, the smell of blood and smoke clung to his skin as everything went dark.
Oh, there's another new one. Up at the top, it says different.
Different.
Your diary, Mom was angry again. I think it's my fault. Did I do something wrong? Tree Dad said I didn't, but I don't know. Ungulate, 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 ungulate. Illigrab, 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 illigrab.
My God, I just realized. Illigrab is Bargle backwards.
Very good.
Never mind, I hate gazelles too. They're all brainless and I hate them. Illigrab has come to get me and I got scolded because none of those bastards understand who they're talking to. Illigrab was right. I have to go see the merchant. He'll make me strong. He'll help me make everything right. This may be the last time we speak, diary. I am leaving too.
Well, we didn't see I can't trust anyone.
Memory's missing one. No.
The long silence.
Dear diary, I know it has been a while. I'm not trying to avoid you. I just have very little to tell. I spent most of the day dancing bastardized versions of the songs Mom used to teach me, and when I'm not dancing, I'm arguing with Raoul about the way she tries to change the songs even further. I've been trying to find someone to practice basketet with, but to no avail. None of the few people who know it are willing to teach a child a language so powerful. Dear diary, I had a nightmare today. I dreamt that the beast came for me and ate me, and how did I react? I called for Mom. I'm dying of shame just telling you about it. Thank the gods no one heard me. Speaking of the divine, tomorrow is the big day. I'll become an adult in the eyes of the gods, or some such pointless tripe by swearing my loyalty to Akazor. As if. Those are the rules that have been set for me, are they not? I decided years ago that I would walk to Hirob's statue on my right of age. I'll look at it in its empty eyes and swear that I will find the power to do the things I need to do, to be the person I need to be. I've made it this far with my sanity intact. If that is not proof of my strength and my determination, I'm not sure what could ever be. It took me all of said strength and determination to not choke Raoul tonight after I saw the traditional Baron dress she brought to celebrate my debut in society. It was not a dress, it was more like a quarter of a dress. She had the gall to spit on my history and then claim Mom had made it for me years ago. Does she think I'm an idiot? The mere insinuation that Mom would ever make me wear anything quite so tasteless is revolting. Maybe that is what gives me nightmares. Perhaps it's just my mind steadily telling me I'd rather get eaten than go through this. Dear diary, I've tried to fill this page over and over, but ink alone can't convey the feelings that move my hand right now. My rite of passage came, and with it Raoul's obvious ploy to introduce me to what she refers to as the family business. Can't believe for one second Mom had anything to do with parading does around for deer to drool over, but arguing with that terrible woman is a pointless waste of time if I ever saw one. At first I was crawling out of my skin. With those clothes on and all the fire burning around me, I felt exposed and awful and trapped. You don't even have anything to be ashamed of up there, Raoul said, giving me a goddamn slap on the butt. I truly considered taking a torch to her dress and running. But then a thought struck me. Had I not practiced this dance 1,000 times? Was I not blood of the mightiest people who ever danced with fire? I could quietly die of shame in a corner, unheard and ignored, like any other gazelle these beasts I've ever met. Or I could burn for all to see, make them remember what they had just witnessed for the rest of eternity. They would not dare forget what they saw. And I was right. When the dance finished, and I took the last steps to the center of the stage, they asked about me. They wanted to know my name, my story, my age, everything. And in a bout of inspiration, I proudly announced, I am Jasif, and you need not know more. The deer went quiet, and then they all stood up and began whistling and clapping like they had lost their minds. That was power, diary. The fire and the gazes and all the fine words I've been taught and had nothing on the sway I had over the most powerful men in Heirloom as I danced. They were sweating as they watched, swearing over and over that they were not horn eaters as they looked for a way to approach me in private and asked what my next show would be. I finally realized how foolish I was spending my nights hidden among books in my room, that someone would come and rescue me. I'm not a little candle blowing in the wind. I'm fire itself, hungry for everything. It's time to escape my confinements and see the wonders this city has been saving for me. Goodbye, diary. I have a date tonight.
Ooh.
I like Sep.
Which one was this?
I know, right?
Yeah, this is just... Okay. 8 or something. Brought a new deer into my room today, and you will not believe who it is. The one-eyed Chub. I found him at last, though he isn't anything but chubby anymore. He actually looks kind of janky, deformed. Mismatch would be a polite way to put it, I think. His name is 8 or something, and as expected, he is an idiot. I made my intentions crystal clear from the moment I saw him, and yet despite his obvious desperation and his many slips of the tongue, literal and figurative, I think there is something wrong with his jaw. He insisted on playing dumb and refused all my advances. Soon grew tired of dancing around the issue, and knowing the curse can only do so much, I decided to read his gaze to see if I had the right deer after all, and you know what? Turns out he is a gaze reader. Of all the deer in Akazor, this dumbass can read gazes without any proper training. Mom would have absolutely lost it. I invited him over, trying to see what other surprises this elongated bag of serendipity had, and I decided to seal the deal with a kiss and a little touch of persuasion, lest he get cold feet.
Persuasion, yeah.
Friendly
But none of that worked
persuasion.
either. I cannot tell if my voice affected him at all, and he got mad at me. Could not care less, and my powers are useless on him, but does he not realize I am worth 1,000 times more than any miserable dough he could ever hope to lay in one of those massive fingers on? Nonetheless, I need reasons to keep him close for the time being. I still have a favor to return, do I not? P.S. Did I mention his hands? Kira be blessed, his hands. P.S.S. We had dinner together, but I couldn't read his mind because Mass Deer arrived. I had to hide him for a while. That was nice. I'm kind of drunk. Tell you tomorrow.
I'm kind of drunk. Tell you tomorrow.
No, tell you tomorrow.
You're only gotta be scared of diary. He talks back. He says, "Go to sleep, Sep. You're drunk."
It seemed this poor slum dweller is far more ambitious than I gave him credit for. He has some truly tall and deluded dreams about becoming a knight that I would just love to hear more of. Though I don't believe I am quite idle enough to follow up on the adventures of some prairie bum. Am I?
Oh, there's more.
The man Elbar situation. We read this before. I was having a boringly uneventful matutine walk.
Matutine?
With Elbar, watching the city at my feet as he argued with himself about some pointless troop play. When who do I spy in the distance but Ader himself, dutifully sweeping the dust in front of the Temple of Hero? He looked adorable with that little broom between his wondrous hands. Naturally, I could not let this chance go. I gave Elbar some flimsy excuse to sneak away and ran to observe my favorite toy in its natural habitat, before reminding him of his duties to me. That was the plan, at least. Perhaps it was the sun glistening on his body in a way I was not accustomed to, or more likely the terrible dawn-soon heat demanding I stayed in the shade. Could have well been that I was far more anxious about trying his memory than I first realized.
Yeah, it was definitely those things. Definitely those things.
Hand stoker.
There are so many causes. There are so many causes I could blame, but none of them would erase the truth. I completely frozen the spot, diary. I couldn't even walk up to Ader to tease him like I usually would. As my terrible luck would have it, Elbar was so kind as to mock Ader for me, all the way from the royal pathway, and I am fully convinced that idiot would have run up a pillar and lost his head today if I had been around to stop him from acting a fool. Does he seriously not realize how close he was to dying for real? I don't care how high the field he farmed was back in... I forgot how to pronounce that.
Just call it Kansas.
Kansas.
Is it like Shansuri or something like that? I don't know.
Tanzure?
Yeah, it's like it's like I think it was like Chanturi.
Yeah,
Chanturi.
I think that's what it was.
Chanturi. He's a slum dweller now. His neck is mere dirt to be stepped on by the likes of Elbar. I don't know why I'm letting this get me so flustered. I thought his being reckless was precisely what drove me to him in the first place. Brawl may have had a point after all. Surely I'm letting myself get too carried away by this nonsense. Moons after our reunion, Ader somehow still manages to surprise me with his ignorance. His latest gym of boreness, deer and gazelles, having fawns. I have to admit that, in retrospective, it may be a logical conclusion for a row, and more so a gaze-reading one, but still, I couldn't help but laugh at the idea. I would have been a mother years ago if any such thing was still possible. As it's usually the case, Ader got so ridiculously flustered at the realization of his own naivete that he resorted to accusing me of being puerile. I graciously reassured him that he's the only fawn around, to which he had nothing better to say than to claim to be older than me. This is, as you and I well know, Diary, a filthy lie. Barely looks like he had his antlers turned to bone yesterday. Be that desperate to get the upper hand on me in some way? The nerve of this stag.
Yeah, how dare he?
P.S. What if I called him Sir Aderson as a joke? I bet that crook would like that. P.P.S. No, I can see the irony myself, thank you.
That's it's remarkably self-aware of you, Seb.
God.
All right, so we're definitely gonna have to rewatch some of the memories we've already seen to see if new pathways open up for them.
So,
Okay, I feel like we chose. Does anyone remember if we chose either of these options? Does he have a death wish or if only? Okay.
He's missing one.
Yeah,
I really wish that given me like branching paths.
There we go.
Candlelights and the distant music traveling from the main hall to the upper floor, set up like no other for a romantic evening, completed by a slightly inebriated monarch and a captain of the guard leaning against each other.
I will have you know, Sir Askadath, that you are exceedingly handsome.
Egad, a compliment from my princess. So refreshing and so rare. I feel like the sweetest fruit on a tree has fallen straight into my hands. What have I done to deserve such unusual kindness?
Well, I was thinking that you spent so many nights in my room, and yet your hands haven't wandered even once.
He's gay. Everybody knows this.
Everybody knows.
But of
Rix,
course,
it ain't so.
I am a knight before I am a man. Love is the prize and the contest, and I know that only defeat awaits if I act too hastily.
She
feel
just
that it's been
invited
quite
you
long
to.
and proper now, however, and I'm afraid my heart is not quite as strong as a trained chevalier's.
I warn you, Jasif, I am known far and wide for my passion. My vigor knows no match in all of Akathor.
How curious. I have heard similar things about myself. Shall we try and see who's truly the best between us?
Going extremely awkward in
Very well, my
3,
dear. We shall burn
2.
together in the fiery pits of love. The ground will tremble with the potency of our embrace. But not today.
Yep.
How about Steepleton's fingers?
I have a previous engagement. Next time, however, I will bring you the loveliest flowers and the fanciest incense, and we will have a night that will surpass your wildest maiden dreams. Until then!
Okay, gotta go, bye!
Elbow scaled to his feet and hurled himself out of the room without any further explanation, nearly taking the door with him. One may think that perhaps this was an offense, that leaving your lover in the heat of the moment would be off-putting, to say the least. But no, Sep remained very much unfazed. She was smirking to herself, in fact.
Knock, knock. Was that Sir Askadath running through the corridor just now?
I was just testing out a theory.
Theory? Oh dear, you're a dancer, not a scholar. Leave experiments to them and focus on doing your job instead of driving the clientele. Jasif? Where do you think you're going?
I need to have my research peer-reviewed.
I won't take it any further.
Oh, no, we got something.
Yeah, we have to read the diary entry for this one. I realized
Yes.
today, dear diary, that the years I stopped sharing stories with you spared you from learning the most scabrous details about my love life. Given the topics we've caught up on, I assume you must have already figured out an essential fact about me. I like deer, in numbers and on their knees, preferably. Needless to say, the feeling is mutual. It's only natural, isn't it? They can never get used to my presence. I'm always literally as overwhelming as the first time they saw me, the eternal novelty. The point I'm trying to make, boasting aside, is very simple. I know men very well. I know the coy type that thinks of laying with someone as something special. I know the anxious type with stage fright. I know the ones that think they have to feign good manners in order to get what they want. I know that Elbar isn't any of these. Oh, Elbar, my poor, confused horn eater. Were our relationship a different one, I would have been eager to explain to him that it's not precisely horns that he seeks in a person. Alas, I feel no guilt in taking advantage of a stupid noble idea that could have my head with a word, and yet so kindly offered to gild the road out of this cage I call home. So very glad I decided to keep Ader around after all. I don't know what to put all the gifts I'm going to coerce out of
I'll be right back.
P.S. Eat your hat out, Geoff. You can't steal this one.
I'm so dead. I'm so dead. It's all right.
I already did that one. Okay.
Did we say, does he have a death wish, though?
All right, I'm back.
Hello.
Still missing memories. There's still this one right here. Do they always propagate forward? Feels like they do, but they might not.
I think so.
I think it's been a little more winding than that.
Yeah, it's definitely winding. Like I said, this is kind of like a phase is what we're looking at.
8 or something.
Focus on your breathing. Now tell me, Ad.
You thinking this sounds 10 kinds of wrong?
I don't think
No, that's what you are thinking, damn it. Why isn't this working now?
You thinking this?
No, focus on your breathing.
I don't think we saw this one.
I don't think so either.
No.
Good. Don't stop.
so new.
Keep your eyes on me. Like that. Relax. Now tell me, Adder, what am I thinking?
You thinking this sounds 10 kinds of wrong?
No, that's what you are thinking, damn it. Why isn't this working now? You read my gaze without even trying just a few hours ago. Doing it on purpose shouldn't pose a challenge after all the tips I have given you. What's your problem?
The sound of a pebble crashing against a balcony drained all the color from Sep's face. Elbar had finished his quest.
Look, ma'am, this was a lovely night. The pastries were out of this world. You're a for real nice gal, but it don't look like I'm cut out for this whole wacky, magic-y, mind-reading stuff. So I think I'm gonna go and get for you. Try to yank my head hornless.
That wouldn't have been normally a problem. Sep did what she could, after all, and if a pauper like him didn't want to accept her generosity, that was his problem. However, she faced a small logistics problem. There was only one discreet way to enter or exit Sep's room, the window, of course. The same window which was being attacked with pebbles at that very moment. Needless to say, she couldn't let him go.
Wait, there's something I need to tell you before you leave. Honestly, I've been meaning to ask about it since we first met, but I didn't quite know how to word the subject nicely. Say, Adder, do you have some kind of aversion to baths?
Say what? Of course I take baths. I ain't no smelly buck. It's just I've been running all day and I work at a forge and you've been making me real nervous with this eye magic stuff and...
Ah, I see. Well, don't mind me then. I'm sure that ashen sweat is a popular perfume among slum dwellers.
I get it. Sheesh. Now you're gonna make me self-conscious about it.
So you agree that you need to wash yourself, right? Perfect. Our bath is right under these stairs. It should be empty right now, so why don't you head there and hide for a while?
Hold up right there. Did you just say hide?
From the rest of the world. It's like a metaphor for relaxing and... Ugh! Will you just go and stop stinking up my room already?
Yes, ma'am.
Ader sobbed a little as he sneaked out of the room. Deep breath was all the preparation Seth could gather before the window burst open.
Hello again, babe.
What do you think you're doing up there, you loon?
I have solved your riddle, Jasif. I come bearing gifts for you, and therefore I become the opposite of a thief. And so, with that misunderstanding cleared, in I go!
twinge of fear shook Seb as the masked steer she'd grown to find absolutely predictable barged into her room. Quickly passed, however. The Desert Rose was her kingdom, her home, the only place in all of Alcazar where she could ever truly be truly safe. If any guards appeared, it would be because Miss Rochelle called them on her behalf. If anyone so much as looked at her wrong, they would be quickly disposed of, as long as Miss Rochelle approved of it. No, there was no need for that. The intruder somehow looked even sillier up close. Horns aside, he wasn't much taller than a gazelle, making him look squat in spite of the otherwise mighty and wealthy appearance. Sep smiled to herself. Perhaps she'd been looking at the situation wrong.
I must admit that I am rather impressed by your guile, my masked madman. Had I known you would return to me so quickly, I would have prepared my room for the occasion.
At least you could have opened a window in my absence. It smells like a volcano in here. Damn, I thought the Princess of Sand and Fire was your stage name, not your living conditions.
Oh, yes. That's just the smell of ash. Forage ash. Its purifying properties are astounding, but it's a bit of an acquired taste.
Well, whatever it is extremely vexing. We will have to do something about that next time. For now, however, I didn't know what kind of present you would appreciate most, Your Majesty. So I took the liberty of bringing those that I do enjoy.
So they're all swords.
Elbar removed the fabric covering his hand, only to reveal a silver plate full of pastries and a wine pitcher.
We shall partake on a most lovely dinner to celebrate our first encounter.
That's actually a fantastic idea. And yet I worry this marvelous evening may still lack the right appetizer. Perhaps a few verses would open my appetite.
Oh, Jasif, how astute of you! Feigning disinterest in serenades deceive the feeble suitor from the truly devoted. You have pretended enough. Heed so the words of your poet. Brighter than all the stars in the sky, warmer yet than the desert is dry.
My, I thought I had been hearing voices for a while now.
Sep closed her eyes with a small victorious smile as the door to her room burst open.
Who's there? This is not what it looks like. I can explain. I am...
Sir Elbar of Askadath. Now there's a man who doesn't need an introduction. We are most honored by your presence.
How did you find me? What magic have you employed to see through my disguise, old crone?
That's why it was a stupid mask. You thought he was disguised.
Yeah.
Please, any business owner would do well to recognize the captain of the guard in any state of clothing. But that's not the matter at hand, is it? Of course not. We're here to talk about Princess Jasif.
Sep had questions, complaints, and just about enough criteria left not to say a word, and Miss Rochelle was talking on her behalf.
You have exquisite taste. Jasif is such a little gem, so sadly overlooked by a deer like us just for those Barhan horns of hers. But oh joy! Having you here means that her talents have finally been recognized by a worthy patron. Because you do intend to patronize her, correct?
Why, yes, of course! I would never dream of wasting the time and talent of an artist like her without compensation.
Oh, this is such a magnificent moment. Please, come this way. We'll make the necessary arrangements over some tea.
Disregarding their differences in status, Miss Rochelle quickly pushed and dragged Elbar out of Sep's room.
Whatever happened to a streak of bodies in the sewers?
Dear. Oh, dear. Taylor could never get his hands on this one.
Miss Rochelle slammed the door shut, sucking all the noise out of the room for a second. Finally, a moment of peace. For Sep, at least. Taylor, the mere mention of Heirloom's most infamous moneylender's name, sent invisible shivers down Ada's spine. The realization that he was, in fact, her so-called brother paralyzed his every thought. Perhaps, he hoped, it was another Taylor, because if it was the same Taylor, he would inevitably hear about the trial and anything revealed in it about Ada and Sep, and then someone would find a rotten hunk of yellow venison hanging from his hooves. Ada briefly considered his options before realizing he was about to die either way. May as well have fun in his last moments. Sep seemed to agree as she quietly took a cup from a drawer and began pouring wine into it. After a few moments, the door opened once more. Quietly this time, Sep didn't need to look to know a completely soaked Ada just entered the scene.
Oh boy! Soap! You know how long it's been since I last saw some good darn soap? I smell so
Sadly,
fruity
he's
that I'm
not
making
naked.
myself hungry here. And look, my clothes are super clean now too. It sure was hard getting all the grunge out of them, but I think I managed.
Tell me you didn't wash your rags in there.
Okay.
Seth bent her face in her hands, seeking to cease to exist for a brief moment.
I just went and messed everything up again, didn't I? See? I gotta get the hay out of this place before I end up setting your room on fire or something.
No, it's all good. I just need a good excuse and a refill. You want one too?
An excuse?
A cup, you moron.
Ada began sniffing the cup. Seth pushed toward. Sniffing the cup. Seth pushed toward.
Oh, darn. Check this thing out. Looks like tar juice. You drinking poison or something?
It's northern mulled wine. Pretty much the same thing, if you ask me.
Wine? Whoa! That's the real stuff, huh? Way out of my budget. Sure hope this ain't no scam now, because there ain't no way in Doc Nah I can afford this. Unless you're really taking rivets this time.
Oh, please, that joke is getting old. Just relax and make yourself at home. You're my guest tonight, which means that anything in this room is yours for the taking.
Anything?
You mean I can have that lamp?
Just imagine.
The room's so dark. I can use the lamp.
Stuffing throw pillows into his.
He leaves the place just waddling with both pants legs completely filled with throw pillows.
A single insinuating eyebrow should have told Ada that all he needed to know, but he was much too preoccupied with the pastries laying on the silver plate.
Told you.
Yes, anything at all.
Well, guess a little sip won't hurt.
That's the spirit. Knock, knock went the locked door, but was completely ignored by the gazelle resting at the other side. The knocking continued at an eager tempo, specifically designed to annoy Sep into giving up, but she was far too cozy to mind.
Knock, 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 Deceive. Open the door. It's me.
There's
no. Deceive before the sun rises.
Should I call you Homoseptute then?
I'd rather you didn't call me at all.
Oh, come on, dear. Don't be such a bore. Today's a special occasion. I've cleared out my schedule just for you so you can tell me all about your new patron.
Tildes right there.
Give me a moment.
Sep rolled towards the edge of her bed with a speed that would have been out of place in a snail race. She managed to gather enough momentum to just barely defeat gravity and get up. Getting dressed was important, of course, but if she was to survive a lecture so early in the morning, she needed to have a hearty glass of juice.
And by
grape
juice?
to be precise.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
As she poured her favorite tonic, an oversized pair of arms surrounded her waist, pulling her into a warm embrace.
Good morning, sleepyhead.
Good. What?
The illusion of comfort was broken all too soon.
What do you think you're doing?
Giving you a nice good morning hug?
Here! I mean here! What are you doing in my room so late? Or so early? Or why are you naked?
Better question. Why haven't you been the whole time?
Oh, look, I would have get a lot sooner, but you looked at me.
Oh, come on. His bride is clearly wearing pants.
So sweet when you pulled on my hand. I just couldn't say no to that face. And
shut up! I did what?
What's taking you so long, Deceive?
Who's that talking over there? Is that your ma?
No! That is none of your business, Raoul!
Don't start with that ugly business talk again. I thought you'd be in a talkative mood today of all days. Don't think I didn't see all that wine.
Yes. Did you hear that? I was drunk. I was tired. I drank more than I thought I did, and that's why I asked you to stay. That's it. Don't get any weird ideas.
Baka?
No. I wouldn't get my hopes up or anything.
Good. Now get out of here before she...
Hold up. Let me put something on first.
Oh, dear. You should have mentioned you were already celebrating. That's okay. Don't rush on my account. We'll talk later.
Both Ada and Sep remained frozen for a few more seconds as they heard her walk away.
Well, she seems not.
Get out!
Ada jumped out the window half naked. Somewhat more naked than he was when he arrived, at least. It was only then that Sep noticed a shaggy piece of blue and white fabric laying on her bed.
Hey! Come back here this instant! You.
Whew, I just left and she's missing me already.
That's the moment where she puts rocks in the cloth and then flings it at him.
Finders keepers, or what was Rawl happy about?
Well, I feel like we're probably going to end up seeing both before this is over. So,
Finders keepers. Tall bridge rose from the sands, filled with guards to the brim. His memory started in a poignant note, or rather a pointy one.
One more step and I'll skewer you like a... wait, boy, don't...
The guards became a mere distant blur as Ader jumped the railings and plunged down to the street below, carrying a gazelle with him. One awning broken, two awnings broken. Fabric and rope whipped against them as they fell at full speed. Sep closed her eyes, incapable of watching the scene anymore. A million thoughts rushed through her head as they fell, and they were all about how this was not the time nor the way she wanted to go. Fall came to a sudden cushy end, for her at least.
Are we not dead?
Ader could only bend his neck to check, as the rest of his body was being crushed by hers.
We ain't? Oh, three! We're alive!
We should be dead.
But we ain't! Woo!
Reinvigorated by the news, Ader grabbed Sep once more and jumped to his feet, forgetting her weight altogether. They spun round and round, the world turning into a blur as they laughed and pranced like idiots. A dozen spins later, they fell back on the ground, exhausted and far too dizzy to take another step. They found a brief respite in each other's arms, gasping for air after their manic celebration left them breathless. Sep tried counting to 10, focusing on her hooves and taking deep breaths, but nothing was getting rid of that exhilarating sensation. It was like all her baggage had flown away as they fell, and now she felt so very alive.
Oh, gods. Why do I want to do that again?
Hold on a second. I'm back. Apollo was looking at his water dish very forlornly.
Oh, the puppy. This dog. Do you not understand that this dog has never had a drink of water ever in his entire life?
Rick, can't put you.
What was that thing you said the other day? You sure hit your head hard?
Just what are you made of, Adder? I'd swear that normal deer aren't supposed to ram straight through walls, or read gazes, or survive falls like this.
Who cares? All you gotta know is that Adder could do anything and more. You hear that, guards? You should have kept an eye on the one-eyed buck. Ha ha ha!
And here I thought you had lost your backbone.
Don't know about my backbone, but I nearly broke my tailbone because of you again. Give me back my cape, you thief.
Take it off me, then.
Sep stretched her arms out and laid back on the pavement. Bed eyes was vastly insufficient for the look she gave him as she tentatively moved a hand towards the fabric covering your shirt.
What's wrong, Adder? Can't you untie a little knot?
Hey, Hey now, don't go laughing at me because I'm so mad at you right now. Like, whoa, so mad. Can't stop thinking about all the things you've done to me.
Really? You don't sound very mad to me.
Oh, yeah? Yeah? You don't know just how mad you made me, Missy. I'm so mad, so mad. I could just, so help me, I could just.
Ada pressed his face against Sep's, getting so close that their noses touched.
So mad you could just leave me hanging.
So mad I could just go and do something for real dumb right now.
I mean, can it be dumber than jumping off a 5-story tall bridge?
Oh, you just watch me. Stand on asking the gazelle way out of your league to let you kiss her again after swearing you ain't a horn eater like 100,000 times and getting kicked out of her room in the morning, ma'am.
Her position on the date was grabbing his face softly and drawing him closer. There was nothing fancy about the kiss. It was, in fact, objectively bad and even worse to watch from outside.
Which is why we're not showing it to you.
His previous experience in romance, or rather his lack of, had been underscored the previous night, but it was made all the more obvious for the lack of wine to mitigate their quality standards.
This may be the smartest thing you've done in the time I've known you.
Cut me some slack here. You've only known me for like 2 days.
A year and 2 days.
See, now I'm gonna kiss you again just so you can't make fun of me.
He was wrong. She would make fun of him for that kiss and many of the kisses afterward, for they were honestly worse for his involvement. After all, history has never known any such thing as a deer born good at kissing.
This is true in the real world as well.
But that could be fixed easily.
Oh no.
These are both very similar.
Are you going to be a conqueror or a conquee?
I guess I'm starting at the top.
I'm so dead.
I already
I'm
watched this one.
So dead. It's all right. I lived a good life. Now I could say bye.
I feel
with a
like
smile.
Yeah, we've already followed that one.
The morning.
Okay, so what was the other one? Okay, let's read this. Thrilling escape. I can hardly believe I saw the ability right after the events that transpired last night. I jumped off a bridge, and yes, I mean that in the most literal, least self-harming way possible. Specifics elude me now that the rush has begun to wear off, but I recall 3 decisive factors. I had Ader's scarf, some wine in my head, and an excess of bad intentions. My attempts to dismiss him proved fruitless. I thought that I would remind him of his cowardice yesterday to embarrass him into going away, but instead I had a rather droll idea. I decided to test his courage by goading him into chasing me, running into the Royal Guard's pathway with his scarf in tow. It had a much greater effect than I anticipated. He was soon pursuing me through the bridge without a trace of hesitation, screaming like the stupid idiot he is. Needless to say, half a dozen guards followed suit. We ran together for as long as my legs could bear it, and once I couldn't run anymore, he lifted me in his arms and led us to a dead end. No, I do not know why I expected anything else. The guards surrounded us, drew their spears, and began walking closer and closer like a wall of spikes. I thought this was surely our end, and I would have to haggle for my life once more, but ask me as you may, I cannot even begin to fathom what exactly went through Ader's mind as he watched the guards approach us. Nothing, most likely. Facing the prospect of letting himself on me, perhaps, get caught, Ader threw all sense to the wind and jumped off the railings 5 stories down into a nearby awning. And yet, I am still writing. We survived. We kissed, we laughed, we celebrated. I have to confess I have not felt anything quite as exhilarating in never before. Ader seemed to have quite a talent for clinging to his life while showing worrying disregard for it at the same time, and I want to be there to watch all the foolish things he does. Does this sound like I want to see him again? My, what a distressing thought. P.S. Those hands, gods.
I love that little commentary with his hands.
Hey, Sip, so, I've been thinking real hard about that thing I said.
Wait, how do they both have a scarf?
And whatnot, so
I don't know.
Oh, boy.
I think this is the proposal, isn't it?
I think I'm ready to take this
proposal.
step.
So where does this lead?
Can't go any further.
Nowhere. Morning after, though.
Yeah. Never mind. I had to literally kick the thick-skulled boar out of the window. Forgot his weird scarf thing. Ugh. I have to say, it's pretty fancy looking for what it is. Perhaps I could keep it to myself as payment for the many headaches he has managed to give me in just one night. So what was Raw all happy about? Missing a memory.
Okay, so what are we missing?
A bunch of stuff still. I'm gonna stop at the top. Start at the top.
Honey,
and just...
Please, let me in.
Hey, Sip, so,
it goes to this
I've
one,
been thinking...
too.
We have more than enough.
Mom? Mom?
Yeah, can't do that one. Oop. Air.
No, I refuse.
Skip.
No
I
matter
never
how
wanna
you
leave.
insist, I can't.
So is that her first foray into the family business, heeding the whims of some deer? Oh. They started with a promising invitation and the massive nuisance that attending it would be, suppose, for Sep. This was it, her first foray into the family business, heeding the whims of some dear other than Miss Rochelle, being paraded around town like a prize, feeling everyone stare on her and her patron. No, wait, she enjoyed that much. It was a questionable poetry was what was killing her.
Ah, Jasif! How have I longed to talk to you face to face like this? There's no greater distance than time, milady, when your company I lack. For if you were to travel beside me...
1,000 leagues would seem a yard. Fancy that. You look fantastic for being nearly 200 years old. If it's true you write your own words, Sir Askadath.
Ha! Discredited by a throwaway quote spoken in haste. Had I known I was in the presence of a fellow thespian connoisseur, I'd have found something more discreet to recite than a traveling troupe classic, like well-willed words.
Don't worry. I wouldn't know what's cliched and what's not. I'm not allowed to attend any performance outside the Desert Rose. Miss Rochelle insists that public theaters are not fit for royalty and that I should be content with reading books instead.
Hold on a second.
I'm guessing Apollo is also now making a face, which clearly indicates that he has never eaten ever.
Apollo's giving the face that says this game's never going to end.
It won't. This is life.
It's not easy when you're a dog.
It's not easy when you're a dog.
It's a dog-eat-dog world.
It is that thing. I'm tired. Does it show?
Yeah, it's tired. I'm tired.
I'm not tired because I had coffee.
Nah.
Mazel tov.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's all good.
We were speculating that Apollo was insisting that he had never been fed.
Oh no. I accidentally stumbled with my water cup somehow and it spilled all over me.
Oh, I see.
Does he ever do the thing where like you're eating pizza or something and he kind of like rests his face on your knee and just looks up at you like...
He's done that before a couple times. Hey.
That is absolute utter nonsense! Theater is an art! Had I been born under different circumstances, I would be touring the kingdom with my company! Not as a mere mummer, mind you, but as the most goddamn renowned actor in all of Akathor!
Okay, Albar, we get it. You're gay.
Alas, my endless list of nobility obligations takes far too much time from my schedule as it is, but not enough to ever skip a play, big or small. I shall let that stewardess of yours know that she's an uncultured beast, if you do not do so first.
So, wait. The question I've had is, why is Elbar pursuing Sep at all? He's clearly not interested in her. He wants something from her.
Because he's nobility, he has to be seen with somebody else. Or
Even
else.
if it's a gazelle?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's his beard.
I mean...
Yeah, she's just his escort, so that he can say he has somebody.
Maybe it's, I mean, the fact that she has horns in the first place may make her seem a little bit more attractive to her than a doe would be.
That's true. He does put a little more legwork than just trying to put up
As
appearances.
much as I enjoy seeing you insult her,
He's got to
that'd be
act
far
high
too
class.
reckless of me. I shouldn't risk losing the only home I've known over a few laughs.
But
I feel like he's
Seth-
not just in the closet from the public, but also from himself.
Yeah. But also, Sep insisted in another one that she thinks that gazelles and deer can't have children together. So him cloning her wouldn't really make sense in that way either.
It wouldn't, but wow.
I also don't think that would be a thing.
I just noticed his wrist here. They are.
Yeah.
This is really going ham on selling.
Girl, tell me.
What do you mean, just
Sweetie.
Is the Desert Rose not your property? The last bastion, the remains of
Oh,
your
we were in
kingdom.
a steel factory. I hope he.
Oh, he thinks of her as royalty. That's why.
Yeah, she did trick him into believing that.
Oh, that's her story, was that she was Jasif the princess.
Yeah.
That was
He
Raul's
thinks-
story.
He also, but I get the feeling that he takes it extremely literally.
Yes.
It's a long story. One filled with murder, treachery, and usurpations.
Go on.
I should indeed be the owner of the Desert Rose by family right, but Mom, Mother, never named a legitimate successor. She probably never intended her business to outlive her, but she didn't intend to leave us as soon as she did either. When she died, everything turned to chaos. Some fled, thinking that we would tear each other's throats over the deed of ownership. Some left, trying to clear her murderer's name. I stayed, too young and too scared to know what would become of me.
Okay, so what is the deal with the Desert Rose anyway?
Well, it was, it may be in the encyclopedia now because, nope, not yet.
I don't see it in
I mentioned to, well, when Maxie watched our stream, they noticed that apparently it's an error that it's not in the index yet. That hasn't unlocked. So this will probably be fixed in like whatever the next update is.
Okay.
So we can't read the entry on the Desert Rose, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I think the Desert Rose is just like a place of business or like a brothel.
Yes.
But not
it's
like
a brothel now. I'm wondering if it was something else before.
Yeah, when Thale, what was Sep's adoptive number's name?
Shoot. Should be in the lore. Maybe.
This is all the characters
Looks like
that
a
we
few of
have in
these
the
entries.
lore.
Looks like a few of these entries may need to be unlocked too.
There needs to be a wiki.
Say what?
There needs to be a wiki.
The wiki. I
Something
mean, who knows? There may
encyclopedia
be
supposed
one.
to be.
Yeah.
I'm sure there will be a wiki before all is said and done.
They might have had some more legitimate business before, but yeah, definitely Raul turned it into a brothel when she usurped Sep's mother.
Magic, monsters, religions, research, season, species.
But it's still funny because
This
it's
was like a entry on Czar because I'm very curious about what her deal is, but maybe we're not supposed to know that yet.
Yeah, I mean, we may not know enough about her yet. Like, for all we know, an entry on her would be full of spoilers. It's like, you just open it and it's like, a shape-shifting werewolf from Venus.
Our family, I think we gotta watch out for. Steph, it could be, lying what she's saying.
well,
right?
here's the thing about her. She's not just Princess of the Desert Rose, but she is Amenteposept. Whatever her like Egyptian name is. She is a princess of an actual destroyed kingdom. That's why she was so annoyed that Raul made up a story for her, because it's gonna bring up bad memories.
Okay.
Yeah. There's I'm piecing it together. It's coming. We're getting this out of order, but I'm piecing it together.
So
Someone
she is
had to
royalty,
take
but
the
she
reins
wants to
of my
forget
house
about it.
Eventually, Miss Rochelle, my mother's oldest apprentice. She promised that she would only manage the Desert Rose while I was too young to do so myself. But now I realize that a gazelle will never be old enough in a doe's eyes. My chance to rule and my chance to escape both disappeared a decade ago, and so I came to a tragic conclusion. I'd rather see my mother's legacy stolen than destroyed, and I'm afraid that I was part of the deal as well.
I like to imagine that his face here as he's listening so intently and he looks so distressed and he has his hand on his forehead. I'm just thinking that the end of this is just going to turn into, wow, I didn't understand any of that.
No, he's not that stupid. He's not Adder.
Sunk deep into my heart, and yet their painful steel shines with the promise of change in your luck. I see now that meeting you was far more than coincidence, Jasif. It was fate. Yes! What else could it be?
Yeah, see,
we are both
smiling.
exiles kept away from our legacy. Our reputations torn asunder by mistakes we made in our childhoods. You are not allowed to leave your palace, whereas I am not allowed to return to mine. But this shall not stand. If your evil stepmother has taken over your kingdom, I will find a way to restore it. And if your rightful mandate cannot be returned, I will found a new kingdom for you to rule.
Elbar turned towards the tower that led to the royal pathway. Sepp instinctively took a step back.
Come now, don't lag behind! There is much to be discussed, my princess.
And that's when he starts.
Current has opened up somewhere. Sepp's thoughts it was something about Elbar's promise.
So now we know more about why Elbar is so interested in this. He's always been a sap for the romantic.
Yeah, and she told him the way to get to him was with a story. So we're seeing now he lives for the drama. That is 100%. I'm starting to like him more, honestly.
Actually, is she playing him or telling him the truth though?
I mean, I feel like it's a little bit of a mix.
Yeah, there was definitely the truth in that.
Yeah. It was a truth, maybe not
you
the
see,
truth.
Queen, I don't want to throw your grace, but I think that's the sun coming up your window. You sure you don't want to go grab some scissors?
Some scissors?
Will you just shut up for a minute and let me concentrate? I'm almost done figuring out the knot.
Right.
Oh, his scarf.
That's great and all, but I don't think my boss is going to take I was kind of tied up for an excuse.
Oh, never mind.
Really, though,
They were up to something else.
Just don't let me get to work late.
Steve, guess who?
Oh, for the love of... Ral! Isn't there anyone else waiting for you to ruin their morning?
As a matter of fact, there is. So open up, sweetheart. I'm a very busy doe. And so is your patron.
Don't think you can come and demand my time whenever you feel like it. I'm busy as well. Far too busy to open up right now.
That's okay, love. I brought my keys this time.
Sepp looked at Ada. Ada looked at the ropes. The ropes looked at Sepp. Sound of keys struggling against the lock sent them both into a frenzy strong enough to make Ada break free all on his own. Then it was time to panic. Sepp turned the room on his head, wondering if there was a wardrobe tall enough to fit a deer that was more deer than any other deer. But she had no such luck. She had, however, an abundance of oversized cushions.
Oh my god, I'm getting into this.
Revealing a doe with an apparently pleased expression, which threatened to break into ire at any moment. Miss Rochelle looked left and right, clearly hoping to find something, or someone. But what would she ever be suspicious of when all Sepp was doing was sitting on a pile of cushions with a cup of wine? When all Sepp was doing was sit on a pile of cushions. That's a typo.
It's all she does. It's all she's doing is sit.
Dear, oh dear, would you look at that? Drinking so early in the morning. You look more and more like your father every day.
Sepp took a long sip from her drink, trying to drown the dangerously uninhibited words that were forming in her throat. She left the cup on the ground and sat up slightly.
Where's Elbar? Didn't you say he was with you?
Oh, he was. He came by yesterday while you were out. We spent a lovely evening talking about you and his doubts about my legitimacy. Someone got into his head that I have usurped the throne and that I'm not doing enough to protect you, apparently.
Protect what? My moral integrity? This isn't precisely a convent.
You're many, many things, dear, but subtle is not one of them. I know you've struck a deal of some sort with him.
But you're here because you don't know what.
I'll find out soon enough. You're 20 years too young to play me, Jasif. Now, would you be so kind to tell me what kept you from opening the door this time?
I was just trying to spite you.
You did great then. And the one who's going to pay is that naked buck you're hiding behind the...
I ain't naked, ma'am. See, I'm wearing a cape.
Miss Rochelle stared at the now revealed Ader for a solid minute. Then she moved her eyes towards Sep, who sadly prayed for any benevolent god in her life.
I can't say I've ever understood your taste in men, Jasif, but this one definitely bears the palm. Where did you find him? In a circus? Did the wandering horn eaters come to town?
Hey, I ain't... No.
Ader didn't finish that sentence, for all the evidence pointed to the contrary.
That's okay, sweetie. Better deer have fallen victim to Jasif's charms. Better looking at the very least.
The doe walked towards Ader with a huge smile on her face. Ader walked back slowly. Smiles like those had never been good news in his life.
Oh dear, what's that face for? Did she tell you something bad about me too?
No, ma'am. Never seen her do anything but sing your praises.
Sing your praises, he says. How charming. Let me guess. You're one of those naive country fawns that get corrupted by the glamour of the city and then never dare go back home. Just think what your parents would say if they saw you here.
For a moment, Miss Rochelle's eyelids drooped a little. For a moment, her words sounded a bit too honest.
Well, dear, if that's the case, you're far too good to die because of someone like her. That's why I'll be nice and give you a chance to turn your life back around. You have 5 seconds to run before I call the guards. 1.
Will you be all right?
Sep just pointed at the window, her face still covered with one hand.
2.
On the count of 3, Ader disappeared.
Well, he seemed like a nice enough sort. I bet you would have broken his heart one way or another.
Wait a second. I don't get it. Why was Eder tied?
Kid.
He fell and got all tangled up while they were knitting.
Kid.
Oh, Eder. That kind of stuff happens to me a lot too, you know?
I certainly hope not.
Something about wanting to be
I'm
left
going to jump
alone.
off a cliff.
I think I'm going to push him off a cliff would be more entertaining.
Quietude. Just complete utter silence. Heavy. Very heavy. About as thick as a sheet, covering the entirety of Sep's room. Silence from the girl meticulously moving a flattened bead of glass over every squiggly line of letters in a book. Silence from the boy sitting by her side on the bed, hands intertwined over his caved-in stomach as he stared at the ceiling. His little drumming, or his occasional whistling, vanished in all the encompassing silence.
I'm sorry. I thought you'd like that.
I didn't.
Sep licked her thumb before turning the page. Felt like the slowest page turned in history.
Did I make you mad?
Not at all. I appreciate your initiative.
Ada's gaze traveled to the other end of the room, repelled by the tone of her words. He barely dared to look at her ears.
You look mad.
I have been known to look mad on occasion.
Having two people that could read minds together in a single room, avoiding each other's gaze, was foreboding, to say the least.
Well, as long as you ain't mad.
Sound of the book being sternly closed echoed all over the room.
I thought you'd be smart enough to figure out how I feel, if only barely.
So you are mad!
Of course I'm mad! How could I not be? You've been taking too many liberties lately, but this is the last straw. How dare you go behind my back like that after all I've done for you? Oh, the nerve you have!
Well, my nerves is where you're getting. I already apologized. What else do you want me to do?
You call that an apology? You haven't even started to grovel.
Say what? You really think I'm gonna bow my head and kiss your hooves? I done begged plenty in my life, but even I got some pride, ma'am. Adderson, son of Garefather of the upper field, is a whole lot of things, but he ain't no ass kisser.
And what exactly is Adderson of the Upperfield if not an ass-kisser taking advantage of my generosity? I have little use for anything else.
Ada extended a finger, opposed to reply, but he immediately curled it back again as he pressed his lips together, realizing his own urgent lack of a worthwhile retort.
You know what? Fine. Guess I can't keep my true identity a secret forever.
I knew it. He's Superman.
Seriousness of his expression managed to throw Sepp off ever so slightly.
You want to know who I am? Well, listen up and listen well. I'm a knight-to-be. Royal blood runs in my veins because I was abandoned in a farm in the middle of nowhere by my real parents. Only after coming of age did I find out I was, in fact, a hero destined to save all of Akazor, nay, all of Duck Na from ruin, and get the girl while at it.
He struck a pose as he finished talking. He off through his nose and then discreetly turned his head to see Sepp's reaction.
You're lucky I have a soft spot for your lies, Adder. I'm going to give you extra credit for having such a knightly name. Now, tell me a better one.
Say what? Ma'am, coming up with stories like these ain't nothing to sneeze at. I'll just tell you another tomorrow.
Bold of you to assume you will have a tomorrow with me.
Sepp opened the window and folded her arms, looking rather serious.
I've been a gracious host so far, but my time is precious and short, and you have far overextended your stay beyond what's acceptable. If you're not going to do what I say, then I don't have anything else to say to you. You have taken me for granted long enough, Adder.
Well, nothing to do about it then. Ah, darn my luck. Guess you won't get to hear about all my mighty made-up master plans to become a knight and get you to fall for me. Curses. They were so funny, too. Like that one time I disguised myself as 10 stags trying to fight me and ended up getting knocked out by my boss. Or that time I hid inside a barrel and convinced a guard I was a talking barrel of ale. And don't even get me started on the neck thing.
Sepp hesitated for a moment as she watched him climb down.
Fine. Let's make this a game, then. Come back tomorrow with another story of yours. If you manage to make me laugh at least once, I will let you stay by my side one more day. If you don't, I will make you pay the extent of my services in full.
Oh my god.
It's
Shahimbazad.
It's what?
Shahimbazad.
God. Sepp slammed the window shut.
Wow, we've opened up like 3 currents.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't remember which ones they are.
The neck and I heard this loud friggin' crack, and suddenly, I could do this.
Hader twisted the upper half of his neck and then tilted it some impressive 60 degrees to the side.
Stop! That's too gross.
So anyway, Megan's been going a little better since that happened.
Hader took
I never knew you could take the term rubbernecking seriously.
Chewing loudly.
You know, every time you tell me about your life, I try to think about it, but I just can't imagine what being so hungry that you have to beg must feel like. I mean, I understand the concept, of course. I just can't wrap my head around the idea of not having food.
Funny you'd mention that. I've been thinking hard too lately, and I realized that you're really big for a gazelle, and
you're really perceptive for a roe.
Darn it, I wasn't done talking. I was gonna say that I'm always here drinking with you and cramming food down my throat, but I ain't never seen you take one bite.
Of course not. That wouldn't be proper of me.
What do you mean, proper?
Barhan Protocol says that a gracious host should not eat in front of a guest. Your wealth belongs to those that don't yet trust you, and your trust belongs only to those that would share their wealth back. I can't eat in front of you. You're not my equal.
Say what? Come on, you know that if I got a biscuit, half would be yours. I can't exactly bring you a fruit salad, but I could try and smuggle out some taters from the forge or something next time.
I don't know what a tater is.
Potatoes!
Touch one with a stick.
Too
Keep
high
your food,
class for
Adder.
that.
I don't want
Just
it.
making it.
So you're saying you don't trust me?
I am, yes, but that's not the...
No, that's
Oh no.
That's all right, man.
He's gonna make the
You don't
puppy
gotta
dog
explain.
face.
I get it. I ain't done nothing to deserve that or any of this, really. Guess you were right when you said I've been taking you for granted. Mr. Bard always says no one's kind without a reason. And you've been so awfully nice to me, I forgot to ask yours.
I have told you 1,000 times, haven't I? I'm just returning the favor.
But I didn't do you no favor. I just hollered in your general direction and then fell on my face and gave myself a big bump in the head. I couldn't do nothing to protect you. If that guard hadn't gone and helped you, you'd...
Sep placed her finger on Ader's lips, silencing him.
Your intervention was as endearing as it was futile, but that does not change what you did. You charged in headfirst, risking your own life to stand up for someone you'd never even met before. I don't think you can fathom how rare that sort of heroism is in this city, Adder.
Sep's index finger floated briefly in the air before landing on Ader's nose.
You're right in one thing, however. I'm not as selfless as you are. I did have ulterior motives for returning the favor, though nothing nearly as nefarious as you're making it sound, I assure.
Sep's gaze was drawn to her mirror.
When I mentioned what happened, you think of one night 1 year ago, but what I think of is 1 year of nights wondering if you had seen me that night, if you had noticed the horns on my head, if you only stood up for me because you hadn't.
Sep, I know my folks ain't exactly kind to yours, but...
No, you know nothing at all.
I swear I'd...
You what? You would positively, absolutely do the same for anyone? I can't believe you, Adder. You lie as you breathe. How could I possibly believe a single thing you've said to me? That's why I won't rest easy until I can get inside your head and find out myself.
Then, that's it? That's the whole reason you've been so good to me? What are we doing when you get your answers?
There's nothing else I could possibly want from you, but I can't deny that your stories have been as entertaining as you promised they'd be.
Yep, that's Anderson for you. Real entertaining buck.
Ader tried to smile, but his brow didn't listen to him. His eyes refused to meet Sep's anymore. To his surprise, Sep grabbed a pastry and shoved it in her mouth.
This doesn't mean that I'm not willing to give you a vote of confidence while I reach my own conclusions.
A dumb, affectionate smile crept onto Ader's face as he watched her chew away whatever pretensions of dignity she had left.
You're sweeter than stolen honey, you know that?
Shut up and pass me those pastries.
Absolutely, ma'am. Open wide. Here comes the caravan. Hey, hold up. We're supposed to share. Don't just eat all of them. Sap.
Oh, some more curds have opened up.
No.
Yep.
Oh, never mind.
Released the linchpin.
All right, we have found a bunch of stuff.
I'm promising you ally. Tangled up. Wait, miss. Tangled up.
Yeah.
There truly is no rest for the wicked. Today was the first time coming to Sir Askadaz as a hired escort. As Raoul made sure to remark over and over, we were simply meant to get acquainted with each other at this point. In her words, move your lips, not your hips. I briefly considered dressing Elbar down to his antlers behind a gazebo just to spite her, but I soon found that he was, true to his word, extremely uninterested in my proximity. I was sincerely surprised. I never would have taken such a massive boisterous stag for the aloof type. I really expected to put some effort into seducing him. Perish the thought. I'm positive he will fall for my natural charm sooner or later. I'm not lacking in lovers to confer with if he so wishes to keep me waiting. So, as Raoul would have it, I spent a long evening listening to my new patron talk, and then talk some more, for Sir Askadaz seemed to forget that a conversation is composed of two people, not a succession of monologues. Once he managed to shut his snout for a whole minute, however, found out that he was just as keen on listening to my woes as he was talking about his. My woes about Raoul specifically. He made his own ideas about her in his mind, and who am I to refute them? If he wants to rescue me and build a kingdom, let him. Noble deer certainly are something else. They belong in their own tier of stupidity. Well, regardless, it is reassuring to know that he and I will get along much, much better than expected. I can safely say that I am a little excited to see how long it takes him to crack under pressure. Ha! P.S. He tried to give me a tip for my company. A tip? Who does he take me for? A barmaid moonlighting as a harlot? I am not thankless enough to refuse his gifts, of course. I simply point out that a queen has no need for money and much rather partake in presents that cannot be acquired with it. So he promised he would bring me some more wine. This is what they call incitement. Let me see all the branches on this one. Can't reclaim what I want.
I don't think we've seen that one.
No, we have seen this one.
Oh, interesting.
It goes back to the nightmare.
Yeah.
Tangled Up should be good.
Dear Diary, it seems I was not the only one who found the bridge incident thrilling, to put it mildly. Leaps into the unknown come in handfuls for that boy. I'm happy to announce that through my wise guidance, Ada proves once and again to be an eager lover and avid learner. He is as obedient as he is clueless, and he does not seem to mind when I chide him, opting instead to take cues from me and improvise. If only my dear overachiever was half as apt at reading gazes, well, I would not have excuses to keep him around then anymore, would I? No, I doubt that would stop him from begging under my window like the thirsty briar he is. Now, anytime
he's thirsty, all right.
Now I have to meet with Elbar and bear his senseless rambling in the coldness of his presence. I find my mind wandering towards Ader. Fear he's truly growing on me, Diary, in more ways than one. Never mind the last entry. Ader isn't growing on me. I'm growing tired of him. Do you think it was born this goddamn sodding stupid, or was it running through walls that did it? Did he lose the ability to shut his enormous snout at some point in his life? Or is that impressive talent for sticking his foot well into his throat something innate? I swear by Hero that my next lover shall be mute.
Okay, bring on Aina.
Raoul's been pestering me all day, trying to make small talk with me. I'm not sure what she's hoping to achieve. If she thinks I need to be consoled for having one of my playthings thrown away, she's sorely mistaken, but we accidentally found some common ground somewhere completely different. Raoul, I'm no one to judge. I'm just saying it's time you accept that you absolutely have a bizarre taste in men. Me, you should see my taste in women then. Raoul, oh, I'm flattered, darling. I really am, but you're a little too young for me. What? No, that is not where this conversation was going. So glad we have something in common at last. Raoul dropped by while I was polishing my horns today to interrogate me as she usually does. I wasn't sure what she was trying to find out at first, but we kept jumping topics and somehow ended up talking about the differences between sleeping with horns and without them. I mean, I don't know. I've had horns for the better part of a decade, so I don't precisely remember what sleeping without them feels like. They don't bother me much because I sleep on my side, so I just need to rest my head on a cushion to make some space for their curve, and that's it. Which somehow derailed further into her asking, how do I make space for my company in bed then? Could finally see where she was going with all this, so I cheekily replied that I prefer being the little spoon for the added thrill of accidentally poking someone's eye out. Not my finest choice of words, given the situation. After a minute, I became oddly wistful, remembering the face of that one-eyed dumbass. For I'll notice this time, she had the decency not to comment on it. I think I'm craving some good old-fashioned Ader hugs, but it's been 3 days since I last saw him. Do you think he's... No, this is Ader we're talking about. Probably just let Raoul's little threats get to him. Ha, what a nuisance. I guess I shall go fetch him myself.
Sep, you see, darling queen, I don't
we
want to
haven't got that
so
one.
I tell him halfway from nowhere. Okay, gotcha. But in what direction? And the caravan driver looks me up and down with a weird face, shakes his head, and says,
That's the name of the place, you plunker. Halfway from nowhere.
Oh, come on. Don't take it out on his accent. It wasn't that hard to figure out. You were the one being thick.
You spend 2 days crossing the Kaib Rift without one drop of water in your canteen, and then tell me if you can figure out a word them Poodoos say. You know how long it took me to get there were asking me to come along?
I'll take your word for it. You'd know about unintelligible accents. What kind of place was halfway from nowhere anyway?
Oh, you know, it's just one of those roadside inns. Just an inn, yep.
An inn.
Uh-huh.
Halfway from nowhere.
You got it, ma'am. You should have seen the staff. They sure were friendly, but I was far too broke to afford the stay, so I just walked in for a minute to,
quench your thirst.
You want to hear about my neck next?
Bells began resonating all over the city center. A new day began.
Oh darn,
dear.
curfew's over. I gotta get ready for work, and we'll have to leave that story for the next time.
Say, Adder, would you take me with you?
To the inn?
No, to the steps, on a quest to nowhere at all. Aren't you always complaining about how awful it is living in the city?
Well, yeah, but I can't go and take you on an adventure when I got work to do. And my boss would come and drag me all the way back to Heirloom if she got to.
But I need you to take me out of here.
Can't you just go on your own?
Of course not. I need someone to blame when Miss Rochelle starts asking questions.
So what? You want to turn me into a pirate or something here? Captain Adder, the lady kidnapping horn-eater.
You wouldn't be a villain. Think of it as a nightly rescue.
You got everything you'd ever need here. What the hell would I be rescuing you from?
That doesn't matter. Don't you remember how much fun we had escaping those guards? Imagine living like that every day.
That's what my life looks like already, and trust me, the world out there ain't nothing half as fun as you're making it sound. Following your dreams only sounds fun till you end up half naked in the slums, picking up chewed olive bones to make soup for two.
You are a bore.
But I'm a bore you adore.
Wow. Just take me away, you handsome devil.
Calgon, take me away.
Oh, wait, she was angry.
Memory's missing too.
Ooh, we are zipping through these hidden ones.
Mm-hmm. Consider myself fair and objective person, Diary. I really do. Try to acknowledge the gap between my skills and those of others, and be as benign towards them as I can be. But I guess my patience can only go so far. No, I don't have any good analogies for what Ader did today, and I normally wouldn't have been so bothered. I really did try not to be angry at him, but my grudge only grew deeper with every second I spent trying to forgive him, as I realized that his lack of respect towards me ran much deeper than the shamelessness he showed today. I wanted to be fair to myself for once and kick him out of my life, but that dumbass managed to charm me again with his cute smiles and his tall tales. What am I indeed, if not an idiot and enamored with the very concept of hubris? I have a feeling that I will not have the strength to enforce my end of the bargain if the time comes.
You sure you're all right?
I told you, the wine went to my head, nothing else. I'm fine now.
For real? I don't mind spending another night making you company if you need it. Just ditch the ropes this time.
Don't even joke about that. I can't imagine what Rel would do to you if she found you here.
Well, that'd be the case if she found Adder. But if she found Sir Adder Cinda the Upper Field, loyal servant of Yasif.
Welcome to the Desert Rose, my lord.
Go.
Stay.
Miss Rochelle advanced toward the two sobering idiots, trudging right through the mess of a room Seth perpetually lived in. Ader was now firmly pinned against a lattice covering the balcony that he always used as an entrance.
You know, on second thought, I can almost see the appeal in that pitiful sunken face of yours. You look so obedient and innocent, like you wouldn't hurt a fly. Oh dear, I bet you didn't even realize you were intruding on a private commercial transaction.
You could bet your farm on it, ma'am. I'd have to know what any of those words means first.
Good, because you wouldn't like what we do with intruders around here.
I'm sure I wouldn't, ma'am. Raw?
It's Rochelle for you. Miss Rochelle.
Miss Rochelle! The Miss Rochelle! Of course! Seb always tells me how much she loves...
Seb!
Stop talking, please.
Well, I'll be Seb. Now that's a name I didn't expect to hear again. Seb. How cute. Oh no, sorry. I shouldn't laugh. This is far more serious than I thought. I'm afraid that just kicking you out of a window won't cut it anymore.
I hope she gets disemboweled
Seb,
by the end of this.
Should I tell first? Elbar or Talid?
I mean, she doesn't appear in chapter 2 or 3, so...
Oh, I saw that face you made just now. You've met Talid, haven't you, Adder? You've heard the things he does to the people he doesn't like, right? It's settled then.
Wait, please, anything but that. Don't tell Talid, Rel. I beg you. This isn't Adder's fault. It's mine. I keep asking him to come back. I just manipulated him into thinking that I needed him, just like the rest. But he won't come by ever again. I swear by Hirub.
Oh, honey, what a selfless declaration. I'm moved by your love. I truly am. But your tears and your words aren't valuable enough to buy my silence. Hurry up. The negotiations are about to close.
I'll tell you everything I know about Elbar, all the plans I've made with him. I'll do anything you ask of me, but please, let Adder go unharmed.
Now that's more like it. Oh, I can just tell you've been keeping something really juicy to yourself. Oh, you're still here?
I ain't leaving till my queen tells me to.
Oh, how adorable. You found yourself a Hayseed Knight.
She said the thing! She said the thing!
Roll credits.
No, that's why I can do this and she can't.
Guards!
And then Ader kills them all. Because he's the Hayseed Knight.
Yeah, that's exactly what he needed to awaken his bloodlust.
Deserve. I know. I'm going to say it outright and just clear the air, for I fear I will explode otherwise. I don't know how he does it, but I am physically unable to say no to Aderson, son of Griffaz. I know, but you don't understand. He looks so positively miserable whenever I try to keep my distance. Just want to shove a loaf of sweetbread into his snout every time I see his gaunt little fawn face and make him chubbier than he was. I realize how I'm acting, yet I do not know how to stop, but that's not the worst part. Today he tried me into having dinner with him. The Jasif, accepting a street shrub's invitation. The merchant would have had my horns for it. This will all bite me in the face one day, Diary. I will live to regret it, I know that too, but what's one mistake more on the pile?
And then Illigrad grabbed me by the neck, and I heard.
I would laugh if that was him talking about how he killed everybody.
And then I bathed in their blood.
My vengeance was unstoppable.
I howled at the moon in my unbridled bloodlust.
Years ago, like my right of age, I declared that I would be my own person. That I would wait for no one to rescue me from the torture that my life is. That only I had the power to set my path straight. Now that my horns are too heavy and my butt is too big to fit through the vents I used to escape through when I was a child, I would like to formally apologize and take it all back. Still want to run, Diary. I dream of quitting everything and wandering all over my homeland whenever I'm restless before a show. Dream of the meaningful lives that all the other people in the world must be having, away from my dessert trays and my fancy dresses. But it seems like the only one who will take me away anymore is my good friend, the wine.
So I tell him halfway from nowhere. Okay, gotcha. But in what
Still
direction?
thinking it. Oh well, that was fun.
I don't even know where to begin with this, but if I don't write something, I'm going to lose my mind. I need to think things through tonight. Maybe the events of last night will seem less terrible than they were somehow. All I can do is hope. Hope this was not one of those choices. Hope that I didn't make it worse. Shown all my cards, pleaded like I never had to before in my life, and now Raoul. I have no idea what she's going to do, but I've already done everything I could, said more than I ever meant to say, and so I hope that he managed to see beyond my words for once. It's all up to him now. P.S. I'm calmer now, and you know what? Ader is nothing if not a survivor. He'll be fine.
Ooh, that's usually a bad thing to say.
Yeah, so it could be better. All right, so where to now?
I think that's new.
No, we've definitely seen both of these choices before.
Okay, probably when I was, yeah.
You know, it would. Did we do I Can't Trust Anyone? Yeah, we did. You know what would be a good thing to add possibly in a future update in this is like some sort of marker indicator.
We have
that
more
shows
than enough money to keep another child. That's not the problem at hand, is it?
Mom?
Yeah, we got back to that one, yeah.
That shows where a new path has opened.
Yeah.
Like a little, I don't know, like a little dot or something.
There could be some work done.
I really like this overall concept of like sort of finding your way through the memories, but
it's fascinating. You can't stay mad at your poor brother forever.
I
think the thing that I wanted to see
she wanted to set it on fire. It was dark out, darker than ever, even in a long dawn to the night. She had been waiting for someone who wasn't allowed to visit. A brief gust of wind pushed the window in the closed balcony against its frame, letting her down once more. Ada was supposed to arrive 2 hours prior, and he had never once been late in the whole season. Not even Miss Rochelle's threats could have made him stay, Sep was sure of it.
What if something's happened to him?
Sep's gaze was drawn to the window once more. She had seen Ada slip through it dozens of times now, but she'd never tried any such feat herself. Even though she lived on the first floor, the ground below looked like an abyss for someone afraid of falling. And yet, what other options did she have? Walking out of the door and pretending that last night's conversation had never happened? Mustering courage from the depths of her heart she had kept locked away for years, Sep headed to the balcony and glared at the woodwork covering it. She shoved the window open and took a deep breath, using all of her willpower to stick one tentative leg out of the balcony.
I must strongly discourage you from resting your hooves on the frame, my son. The lattice may not be able to withstand your weight, and I am standing underneath.
The scare almost made Sep tip forward and fall into the street. She quickly recoiled and ended up on the balcony instead.
Who's there?
My name is Hadjab Amet, descendant of Hadjab, the great cartographer, steward of the Askadath household and heirloom. It is an honor to be at your service, Jasif.
I'd almost forgotten about him.
The flippancy of his voice wasn't lost on Sep.
Did Sir Askadath send you?
Affirmative, my son. I have been charged with the peculiar task of protecting your room, as Sir Askadath was led to believe that the Jasif would feel safer with a fellow Barhan civilian watching over her window than any of his trained deer guard.
Well, you are doing fantastic. Congratulations on your promotion. Go ahead and watch my window all you want. I have places to go.
I'm afraid I cannot let you do that, my son. The orders were, paraphrasing, make sure no one comes in, and I believe it strongly implied I should make sure that you remain inside your room while I carry out the task.
Are you open to discussing semantics?
Negative, my son. Sir Askadath discourages the pursuit of intellectual matters for the duration of my shift.
How about a little break then? You could come up here and relax a little if you'd like. Share some wine, perhaps?
Negative, my son. I am not allowed to consume alcohol for the duration of my shift.
Tea, then?
Only if it's hemlock, my son.
Hemlock? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were a eunuch.
I am under no obligation to prove the size of my virility just to entertain your provocations, my son.
Are you always like this?
Affirmative, my...
Sep slammed the window shut. She would have to walk out of the front door with a high head and quiet steps.
Where do you think you're going, honey?
I'm going to take a stroll.
Oh, no. I'm afraid that long walks under the moonlight are no longer part of the menu for you. You're far too precious to be wandering around like a ghost now, future Jasif of Askadath. That's why I decided to put you in a casual encounters diet so you can fit in the wedding dress.
Jasif of Askadath? Then Sep and Elbar!
Focus, Lynn.
I'm not going to see anyone. I just need to leave for 5 minutes.
Then I'm sure you can bring the escort Sir Askadath has dispensed for your security. I hear he's a great conversationalist.
You knew about... Wait. You told Elbar, didn't you? You filthy liar. You promised you wouldn't tell on us.
I said I wouldn't tell Talid. I wouldn't want to see that wretched little fawn drawn and quartered because of your strange taste in men. But I wouldn't dare extend the same treatment to Elbar. He is your patron, our patron, and your fiancé. Oh, don't make that face, sweetheart. I only told him that some miserable buck tried to sneak into your room a couple of nights ago. Nothing else. He'll be fine. And so will you. You can find yourself a new friend as soon as you finish paying your dowry.
Of all the miserable things that you've done, this is...
Haven't I made myself clear? You are grounded, Sep. Go to your room.
Sep's mouth opened and closed as Miss Rochelle turned around, but no sound came out. The door was closed and locked from the outside, but even if it hadn't, Sep had no will to fight back. A dozen cushions heard her scream of frustration and impotence as she realized for the first time after all these years she didn't even own a key to her own room. The scream continued as she finally understood that she would soon be forced out of the only place she'd ever known as home, both her only haven and the origin of all her fears. Her voice broke into sobs as she realized the effect her absence would have.
Ooh.
An interesting choice.
Start at the top. No.
Oh, skip memory.
Been a day since I tried to leave, and it's already one of the most disconcerting I've lived in recent years. I've never seen Raoul seething like this, not since Mom passed. I asked to be let out again this morning, and she said she wouldn't let me leave my room at all, that I clearly could not be trusted with my own choices, that she was wrong for thinking me an adult. But you know what, Diary? I was always right in thinking her a cold-hearted beast. And yet, despite all the hurtful things she'd said, she's been sending all manner of gifts to my room. Fresh figs, sweet wine, new books, and charcoal and ink for my drawings. What are these, my wedding presents? Because I would love nothing more for her to choke on her lies and leave me alone. Early this morning, I heard the lock click. Raoul made sure to be noisy about it, so I know she'd unlock the door, but she still wouldn't take her eyes off my room for 1 second. I don't care what sort of trap she's trying to set, but I won't fall for it. I have everything I need right here. The rest of the house may as well not exist. All I keep worrying about is how I could... No, I don't know what she'll do if Ader tries anything, but I'm sure he'll come up with something. He'll find his way back to me, he always does. I'll win the war and earn my happy ending. I just have to resist a little longer. Yesterday, I finished nibbling away at a little stash I had saved from Elbar's last visit. What started with a slight feeling of peckishness I could easily disregard had me waking up with a horrible stomachache I couldn't ignore anymore, just a few hours later in the middle of the night. I had to give in and eat some of the food Raoul brought today, and she'll see I didn't think I gave in and I'm going to listen to her now. I feel really bad. P.S. No signs of Ader today. What's the longest anyone's memory has lasted without news, Diary? P.S. Does he always feel like this when he's not around me? I'll make sure to raid the pantry before leaving. Elbar tried to visit today, but I've been refusing to see him. It doesn't matter either way. I know Raoul will tell him I'm sick. I'm sure he's convinced it's the truth, too. Days keep passing. She'd usually be poking me and pestering me all night to get ready for the next show by now, but she doesn't say a word when she brings my lunch. She doesn't lock the door when she leaves either. I don't know what she's trying anymore.
She tied that page.
I woke up early today to the sound of drums. A congregation of priests of Ame were offering blessings and recruiting souls for their cult like every first day. Then it dawned on me. I thought there must have been a mistake, but no, I rushed out of my room and asked the first girl I saw what day it was. She said it was first day. It's been a week already. It's been a whole week somehow. He's gone. Missing memory.
Ooh.
One-eyed cub.
Just who do you think you are?
And then Ilagra grabbed me by the neck and I...
There's only 8 of these left that we
Just
haven't
who do you think you
seen, but...
I'm so dead.
Wait.
Sep came to little by little, feeling tremendously disoriented with every passing second. Her eyes felt red and dry, her nose was stuffed, and judging by the warm fur brushing her face, she was surely being embraced by someone with hands made for hugging. Sep shifted awkwardly in place, trying to find a way to turn around that wouldn't involve goring someone with her horns. First thing she saw was Ader's face, sadly turned away from hers. Second, the sea, vast and mighty, blending into the darkness far beyond. And third, the palace, commanding respect on all that saw it. She had to do a little bit of mental backtracking to remember that she had taken a nap while Ader waited for her inebriation to pass. Cried herself to sleep, most likely. Her sudden bout of embarrassment went thankfully unnoticed by her companion, who merely seemed happy to exist and have her in his arms.
Beautiful, ain't it?
The sea, the palace, or me?
All three? But especially you, no doubt.
Liar. I wish you'd look at me the way you're looking at the Alcazar.
Hey, can you blame me? I mean, it's a real darn killer for a building. Look at those curves. I'd be struck dead if I wasn't watching it with the prettiest gal in all of Ireland.
Shame on you, trying to flatter your way out of this conversation. You don't intend to share your obsession with the palace, do you?
Nah, nah. No way, ma'am. I'd never hear the end of it if I told you.
Blame me all you want. It's clear to me that you're just so afraid of telling the truth that you'd rather keep lying forever.
Skeptical one-eyed squint and a frown followed his provocation. Ader jutted his jaw out as he let his chin rest on Sep's head, asserting, whatever resemblance of dominance a boy like him could have.
You didn't hear this from me, but rumor has it that a prairie buck from down yonder the steppes ran to the city a few seasons back. He sold all his clothes along the way, and the new ones cost him an eye, but here he was at last. The ones who know him said, they said to me, he got the silliest dream they'd ever heard. They said he wanted to become a knight of all things. And maybe you don't know, because he didn't know it either back then, but farmhands don't become knights. They become good-for-nothing, stuck in a city where no one takes them seriously, watching the place where important things happen, and knowing they'll never get to set a hoof inside.
A poignant tale, no doubt. Though, knowing you, it can hardly be the whole truth.
You can tell? I mean, it's a truth. Closer to the real thing than the story about the talking barrel of ale, that's for sure. But the one true truth's that I got far too little on my plate to worry about dreams and far too much to spend time open. This dumbass I'm telling you about has been gone for a while now.
I see. Well, do let me know if you ever find him. I will make sure to make him part of my personal entourage once I become queen.
All right, that's a good one. Queen of the gazelles.
Does it look like I'm joking to you?
You ain't?
Sep turned her head toward the palace. She sank her fingers into the sand, trying to placate an ire that always lay dormant at the bottom of her heart.
No one may take you seriously in the city, Adder. Perhaps they looked at your horns and laughed back in your town. But not a day has gone by since I was born where someone hasn't looked down on me for mine. Not even when Mom was there to defend me. Do you know what it's like to live a life without anyone to call your equal? To know that all I can realistically aspire to is becoming some horn-eater's mistress for as long as I'm beautiful? Just to die alone because no sane gazelle would take a doe wannabe for a wife? Is it really so dumb to dream of a life where I have the power to set the score straight?
I'm sorry, Yusif. I didn't know.
Of course you didn't know. You're a lame one-eyed excuse for a gaze reader and a liar. And I didn't expect any better.
He was good enough, at the very least, to recognize when someone was lashing out at him for a lack of a better way to express their feelings.
I know it don't mean much, but if you're so worried about the future, I still mean what I said that time. I could take you if you want. And we could save up some cash and get a field somewhere, and I mean, I can't imagine thinking you don't look pretty for a single day in my life, so...
And become almost septuple wife of Adder, the roe resigned to marrying a gazelle? Spend the rest of my life raising your fawns while I pretend I don't notice the way farmers look down on me? I'll pass. Thank you. Besides, I know that eager gleam in your eye, Adder. I've known many deer like you before. You just want me because you haven't known anyone else's touch. It won't last forever. That much I can foresee.
All right, what if, and this is just an if, what if all those stories I told you night after night were a little bit true? What if I only wanted to be a knight to get the kind of power that'd let me protect the people I love? That'd mean I get you a little bit then, right? And if I get you, well, maybe it's because I like you more than just your body and the way you make me feel. Maybe I end up falling for those little bits of warmth I see behind your cold blue eyes.
You can be quite the poet when you want to.
And I can be quite the knight when I got to. Just let me prove it to you, my queen.
Sep's face turned red as a tomato. Her lip trembled slightly as she made an effort to keep her composure.
You do realize that there will always be others, correct? This is not, and has never been, something exclusive to me.
That's all right with me. I got 20 years of experience working as a freelancer.
Don't expect any special treatment just because you're my favorite. I would lay with a Macadar if that took me a step closer to the throne.
That just means you'll be keeping the bed real warm for me.
Are you really okay with this?
I don't think you'll believe me if I tell you you're one of the nicest people I've met in this whole city, and it still sounds like an improvement over my whole life, so let me just say this instead. I love you, Sep. Please let me stay with you. Oh.
Idiot! Don't think I can't tell you're trying to attack now that I'm drunk.
Who, me? Adderson, son of Gerf out of the upper field, taking advantage of a poor, defenseless lady to confess his love. You offend me, ma'am. I'm wounded. Wounded, I say. A knight should never announce his love expecting a reply. But I ain't even a squire, so you can go ahead and admit that you want me at least.
I want you to shut up.
There's only one way to make me do that.
A handful of sand in his mouth wasn't precisely the idea either had in mind, but it worked just as well.
Nice.
Saying something about knights and wanting to forget. Okay.
It's not often that one could find Sep pacing back and forth around her room. She was usually quite more laid back, meaning she'd only lift a finger if she absolutely had to once she was done dancing for the day. But tonight she just couldn't stay still. There was something waiting for her. It was her only chance. She absolutely had to meet him. She would sneak out no matter the cost. The back door that the servants used was right there, just a few steps more, and she could...
Trying to sneak out again, dear?
Sep balled her hand into a fist just inches away from the door handle. She breathed deeply and turned around.
I'm not trying to sneak out. I'm leaving this place.
Well, that's dramatic. Are you leaving for a night? A year? Unlike you, I can't know what people are thinking if they don't tell me, dear.
You really want to know what I'm thinking? You want me to tell you how much I hate you one last time? Fine. This is the last time you see me bowing my head before you, Ral. I won't let you decide ever again what my own good is. I won't let you steal the things I love from me anymore. Can't you see that you've made my life a living nightmare?
Yes, you look like the very image of suffering. Whatever have I done to be so cruel to you? Haven't I given you everything? Haven't I taught you everything I know?
You've taken everything from me. My culture, my skills, my name. You said that you would raise me to be the woman Mom wanted me to be, but all you ever did was keep me locked and complacent so you could use me as your pawn. But it's over. I'm done with your little games.
Sep turned back again towards the door, ready to open it. It was locked.
You really think I'm the heartless one here, Sep? Tell me, did you ever consider how I suffered when your mother died? I loved her. I knew her better than any of you could ever have. And yet I had to be the first to get over her death to protect you. We could have been there for each other. But you pushed me away when I couldn't be Thar. You pushed me away when I couldn't be Geoff or Talid or Ilagrab. You push me every time I try to be there for you. And then you cry because you feel alone. But that's okay, isn't it? In the end, we're just two lonely women obsessed with being loved by those who look down on us. After all, we've both lived our lives putting someone on a pedestal. It makes sense.
Miss Rochelle's eternal grin vanished. The woman who taught Sep how to smile when everything was falling apart grimaced, but only for a moment.
Oh, look at me rambling like an old woman when you have other things to do. Can you do me one last favor before you leave, dear? I think I left the front door open, but I'm exhausted, and you know I look like a raisin without my beauty sleep. Go and lock it for me, will you?
Miss Rochelle deposited a brass rose-shaped key in Sep's hand. Then she turned her back on the gazelle and began walking towards the stairs that led to the first floor. Sep stared at the key for what felt like an eternity, unbelieving, disconcerted, skeptical.
I know you're not doing this out of kindness, Ral. You just hate seeing that you're losing, don't you? You want to watch me ruin my life and Adder's and be there to say, I told you, when I have to drag my tail back.
Dear, I've only asked you to lock the door. The rest is all up to you.
You look distant today, babe. Is something the matter?
I was just thinking about the last time we walked together like this. You mentioned that you would have liked to become an actor if your life had gone differently, remember? I'm afraid that I have been plagued by what-ifs ever since. Say, Sir Askadath, does your heart still long for a life beyond these walls when you know that it can't possibly be better than what you have? Do your dreams haunt you as well when you can't fall asleep?
Dreams! Ah! Perish the thought! Dreams are for the idle. I am a man driven by objectives. and I have spent all my life working towards a single, all-encompassing goal. Proving myself to one man, my father. But my father had another son, a legitimate son. A boy who was inferior to me in every regard, from swordcraft to wordcraft to looks. But he was the spitting image of the deer whose approval I so desired. He came to be a mirror reflecting everything I hated about myself. My hatred grew and grew until it was strong enough to turn a blunt sword into a mace, to disfigure a deer with a single misplaced blow. I didn't mean to do it. I swore 1,000 times that it was an accident, but who in their right mind would listen to a fratricidal bastard? A life yearning to be someone worthy of the name I had been given, broken in mere seconds. I was banished, forced to join a military academy in Heirloom like a damned merchant's son. But even in my exile, I still sought to appease my father. I hoped, no, I dreamed of being allowed to return home.
Is there really no way to undo your punishment? Perhaps you could appeal to your father and ask him to...
He can't do anything anymore, gods damn it! My father is no longer among us. He died a hero last year fighting the Makadar hordes far to the south. And with him all those pointless dreams where I was forgiven and allowed to return to the hearth of Askadath. In his tragic death, I found a boon. I have nothing to prove anymore. I have no reason to live my life in any way but the one I choose. I am, dare I say, free in my confinement. My fate has become mine, in earnest. And I choose to say, screw fate! I do not speak of gods or written destinies, if not in jest, Jasif. I learn from the words of the great masters I've witnessed. If a fiction wrought by the mind of a commoner can conjure some resemblance of purpose in this meaningless world, then I shall make my life the greatest play.
So what role do I play in your script, Master Askadath?
You play as yourself. As a valiant knight, my story calls for a princess. And you truly are everything I could seek in one. Graceful, literate, and laughably controversial. I spent years looking before I found you, but at last, our love shall be the subject of 1,000 gossips.
A life lived to leave an impression upon the onlookers. What meaning is there in making an effort if no one can tell you made it?
See, Jasif, you understand me. You may not be an actress, but you know your public. You command the scene when you dance. I command the citizens with my guards. We are one and the same in the end. Two crowd pleasers torn away from the stage. I have indeed spent many nights fretting about the objectives my future shall hold. And I believe I have found just the perfect development for my character in the next act. Our heroic knight, Elbar, rescues Jasif, the last princess of Bassacursed, from the clutches of her evil stepmother. He offers her refuge in his palace, and, madly in love with each other, they decide to marry and live happily ever after. The end.
Well, you've got your the answer to your question of why he picked her.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm. He wanted something controversial.
Tell me about this happily ever after, sir. What does a happy life look like to you?
I'm not sure. We throw feasts and have fawns. Well, fawns are a stretch. We couldn't have fawns together, but I will find myself a second wife who can bear them. Maybe a third wife for good measure. You all will be united by the love and gratitude you feel towards me.
He's a bit delusional.
Yes, this seems extremely likely.
Sep's getting remain firmly fixed on the blue horizon beyond the walls.
Why do you
She took a deep
hesitate,
breath.
Jasif? I'm offering you the biggest role you will have in your career.
She took a deep
truly
breath
an
and
outstanding
explained to him the concept of a
I
beard.
don't mind sharing, and I'm not so stupid as to demand you make me part of your house. It would be reckless of me not to take you up on your proposal. So, why indeed?
There are two types of actors in this world, Jasif. The pragmatic and the romantic. those who play anything and seek success and glory at all costs, and those who will always favor a smaller role they feel more connected to. We have no control over which characters speak to us, romantics, but an actor is an actor at the end of the day. We play our roles, like them or not, and we try to make the best of them. That's the only way we can keep moving forward. Perhaps you are a romantic at heart as well.
Elvar sent a little smile her way. Probably the kindest expression he had ever made in his life.
I can't even dream of helping my cause at this point, but I hope you will allow me to do right by yours. Let me know when you have decided.
With that, he sent his cape flying and walked away.
Dramatic cape swish. Is it all just an act? I think we did this part already.
Yeah.
You look
we
distant
did.
today, babe. Is something the matter?
Oh, it looped back around.
Still missing a memory.
Ah, criminy.
The proposal and break free.
The Sepsoth, adventures and wanting to forget.
Oh my god, how long has that been there?
Oh,
That's
wow.
been there a while. It's shown some little things here and there.
I have not noticed that one. Ugh, criminy.
It's mostly just been summaries of like the stuff we're seeing in the diary and the scenes.
Halfway
So
from nowhere. Okay, gotcha.
I thought you'd be hiding something, but
That
Oh,
was
good, she's
supposed to
drunk.
be the
how
hint towards
much
what
I
to find
try
next.
to drive you away. You keep proving me wrong. Just like that. Why won't you leave me alone, you bore? You were not allowed to be this nice to me.
Sep, put that cup down. You're squeaking like a barkeep's rag.
Damn it, Adder. Nothing you say makes sense. But you're a good dear. Your behavior has been
This is straight from
absolutely
Inuyasha.
irreproachable, and I haven't been up to the mark. I'm so sorry.
You are?
I don't know. Wait. You should read my face and tell me. Oh, I can already hear your voice saying, well, yeehaw, my melon called me a biscuit. You're just a little sad on the subject, as always.
I'll make like I didn't hear that if you tell me what the haze and almost something's supposed to be.
I can't believe that I was
Oh,
like,
shut
oh,
up.
there should be some sort of guide for this, and there was on the screen in front of me all this time, hints, and I was just the one who was too dense to notice them.
No, it's because at the very beginning of it, it didn't actually show anything, so I wasn't really paying
Okay.
attention to that.
It's okay, Stoker. You can be our little
We're gonna go
adder.
and take a stroll before you spill your guts all over the carpet. Come on up. Holy horns! You're heavier than the last time.
It is you who is weaker.
The sneak out Sep's room was generally a lot easier without having to carry its odor over her shoulder like a sackcloth.
She's
Far
cool
away
with
from the
sticks.
little hubs of nightly entertainment, Heirloom looked positively dead. Curfew rendered the streets almost pitch black, a strainer that only left those that knew how to navigate its narrow alleys in the dark.
Hey, where are we going?
Didn't you say I'd never take you anywhere? Well, no more. Today, I'm going to show you my favorite spot in all of Heirloom.
That sounds boring. Let's do something more exciting. Let's elope. No. Let's jump off a bridge again. Make it 2 bridges.
Ma'am, it just so happens dear old Ducknaw is very attached to me, and I don't want to make her jealous.
Oh, please. I've seen you do it once. I'm sure you can do it twice. It doesn't have to be the royal pathway this time. It can be a smaller bridge, a tiny one.
I mean, I'm the kind of buck that's got to run around in the rain to get wet. I could survive any fall just fine. But I already know how it feels when the ground wants you back, and let me tell you, it ain't pretty.
'Cause of my... 'cause of my butt, right? It's a butt joke. And I'm the butt of the joke.
I'm curious how that translates in other
We're
languages.
almost there.
Oh my god, I love her.
The rhythm
I
of
know,
his
right?
steps, coupled with the soft sway of his arms as he held out our peculiar drunkard, only served to increase his soporific effect. Soporific effect. Soporific. Soporific effect of a few too many cups of wine.
Yeah.
I've never said that word out loud.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? There's been a few words that have cropped up here where I've been like, oh, this is not a word. It's a word I know, but it's not a word I have ever had an occasion to read aloud.
I definitely want to read a book now about soporific.
It means it makes you sleepy.
Sep closed her eyes for a moment.
Oh boy, I'm gonna feel like I got sandbags instead of arms tomorrow. Wakey, wakey, sleepyhead. We're finally here.
For your information, I was actually awake the whole time.
Sep reached out for Ader's tail while she was stretching her arms, prompting the bug to leave her on the ground a little faster. Once repositioned, she was finally free to look around, but she couldn't see anything. It was so dark and lonely out there that all she could make out was a diffuse glimmer in Ader's horns against the orange moonlight.
You gonna stare at me all night?
She only reluctantly moved her eyes away from him at his insistence. Her expression lit up as she finally got used to the dark enough to admire the view before her. A beautiful empty beach hidden behind a wall of run-down houses and drying racks covered by seaweed. Obscured by the night, but with proud fires casting light upon its spires, Heirloom's Alcazar stood regally over a opposing mountain emerging from the pathway, from the sea, accessible only through the last section of the royal pathway.
Now, I know this place ain't nothing half as fancy as what you're used to, but when I'm feeling like time's running too fast and life's hitting me a little too hard, I come here and just sort of forget everything for a moment. Mr. Bard says it's a sobering view, so I figured it was the perfect time to show you.
They leaned against each other as they sat side by side, watching the Alar Sea extending before them. Too rough and fierce to be explored by the tiny Alcazorian merchant ships, but just loud enough to cover every other sound beyond the beach. Salty breeze kept a few sailboats moving in the night, but they didn't break the illusion of a world where only the two of them mattered. Sep looked completely captivated by the view. Ader never needed an excuse to stare at her, mesmerized.
You ain't never been to the beach after curfew before, have you?
I've never been to the beach at all.
Afraid I've ruined the rest of them for you then. This one's perfect. It's empty, it's got a nice view of the palace, and, sand. Only bummer is it's one of those beaches that comes and goes, so, we'll be going with the sand if we don't get the hay out of here for dawn.
So, how did you find it? Why is it so empty? Have you taken anyone here before? Besides that Mr. Bard of yours, does it always smell so weird in here? How deep does the water go?
Whoa there, slow down. One question at a time, ma'am.
Sep didn't ask again. She reached down for her boots instead, removing them clumsily before Ader's confused stare.
Wait, they wear boots?
Moving with just barely enough grace to not look absolutely wasted, she marched a few steps into the sea, letting the cold foam reach her ankles and then her knees. Ader followed suit, having no footwear to worry about.
So she wears boots.
I guess.
Yes.
I guess.
This is extremely new news to me. I have to take a moment to take this in.
You didn't notice the window where it says she wears boots, Stoker? It's been in the whole game.
It's like, let me guess, there's been a boot status window the entire time in the top right. It's like boot status on, and it's just turned to boot status off.
I guess now you got to the boot of the problem.
They stayed there in silence for a moment that felt like an hour.
I'm gonna have to reboot my mental image.
If we jumped into the sea right now?
I hate to break it to you like this, but the eye patch don't make me a pirate. I swim like a bucket of nails.
I can't swim either, but we could at least try, right? We don't have much to lose either way.
Folks die when they drown, you know.
I know.
Silence intruded into their conversation again, always happy to make space for itself. It bore no wistful remarks this time, for it was heavy and thick with a shared secret, perhaps unwillingly. Most people would have sunk to the bottom of the silence like this, but not Ader.
How about I paddle us there? Look at these hands. They're basically oars. And my neck looks like the tip of a ship. I was born to be a boat, I'm telling you. Look, I'm just going to lay on my back, or you get on top of me, and we'll sail off to the sea.
So, you want me on top of you, is what you're saying?
Well, if he doesn't...
Whatever you want is what I'm saying. I don't mind sinking, as long as you float.
Strange warmth spread across Sep's face. She couldn't understand very well why it was, but she was blinking a lot faster than before. She rubbed her eyes with her forearm, only managing to smear the teardrops all over her face. No matter how inebriated she was, she still had just about enough of a questionable sense of dignity to lay flat down on the sand, trying to hide her expression. Ader sat down by her side, grabbed her whole body with one hand, and moved her weight to his lap, letting all her anguish melt into tears between his arms. He had a feeling that she would never let him do this sober.
They're all gone, Ader.
I know.
He didn't really know. He didn't have any clue of what she was crying about in her drunken haze as he clumsily stroked the hair around her horns. But it didn't matter. He understood just fine.
Something about acting. Something about being left behind, something about acting. Would something about being left behind being alone?
Maybe.
Oh, honey, come on. You can't stay mad at your poor brother forever.
Something about acting, she's saying. Something about being left behind.
Well, something about acting. That has to be something about Askadath.
Elbar. Yeah. Elbar's passion, perhaps?
Mm.
Oh, Elbar.
I want true love.
Something about being left behind. I mean...
Alabama, different, air, the red man, alone, like me. The long silence, that one-eyed chub.
Mom?
I get the feeling that is the absolute last memory we're going to be allowed to look at, if this will even let us get to it. Like, that's at the heart of it.
That's going to be some catharsis.
Catharsis is one word for what I'm expecting.
The morning after attempting to escape, promising God, tangle up horns, bargain. Fawns.
You know, we still haven't read the journal entries or the diary entries for the proposal and break free.
Yeah. It's also kind of late.
It
is 12:30.
Sure is. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a little absorbing.
Huh.
This is a different approach.
We still need to finish chapter 3 after we do the rest of this anyway, so...
Yeah, this chapter is quite a bit longer than the first two.
It is. Just even going through these scenes is about as long as another...
And let us not forget that in the real world, they are still at the trial, staring at each other, where no time has evidently elapsed.
I'm wondering what's supposed to happen after that. Like, how many chapters do we have after that? This
is the last chapter, but this is a lot more circuitous than the other ones have been.
Yeah.
This is the last currently completed chapter. There will be more.
Yeah, this is basically explaining what Ader was up to in chapter 2, as well as giving Seth's entire backstory.
Yeah, this is recontextualizing both the previous chapters.
I'm guessing that this last one right here will be the reason that Seth ended up in prison, because we had absolutely no idea why that was.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, there's only 4 cases left. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming with us. Those of you who stuck with us from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Stoker Bramwell sounds just like the guy from Every Frame of Pause. I'm not super familiar with that. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Every what now?
Every Frame of Pause. every frame of pause, every melody of song, every leaf of grass, every frame.
What are you doing?
I don't know. I'm just making things, okay?
We're tired. Are you?
Yeah.
I was born tired, and I've just got tireder over time.
Hey, I'm 2 hours ahead of you. I'm super tired.
Oh my god, yeah, that's right. Go to bed.
Go to bed.
Thank you.
Everybody, go to bed.
right.
That's it. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Go to bed.
Good night, folks.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Night.